Let's go. Hit that like, hit that subscribe. Let's talk some puck.
That's my baby. That's my baby.
We're going at it at 110%.
I just want 5 minutes of happiness, please. Just give me 5 minutes.
And they scored! They did it!
Left, feet left.
What the hell was that? Oh, yeah!
What the fuck are you talking about?
Ladies and gentlemen, to a brand new edition of the Hockey Happy Hour right here on A2DRadio.com. We are live on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, everywhere that you could follow us on the social medias. That is where we are right now live. I am Matt Satsuti along with the Darkwing Brian Daly.
What's going on, everybody?
And tonight we are going to officially cap off the NHL playoffs as the NBC era has officially come to a close. Forever and ever, maybe, unless they get them back. But ESPN will officially take over by next season. And as that era ends, Tampa Bay has repeated as Stanley Cup champions, defeating the Montreal Canadiens in 5. And the most recent team to go back-to-back since the Pittsburgh Penguins did it in 16 and 17. Boy, what a way to start off a new decade's worth of hockey, and what a way to end an era with a repeat for the Tampa Bay Lightning. Bri, what a run.
I mean, Tampa is a very, very strong team, and they showed up in these finals. They showed up last year as well in the bubble, and we know how deep they are. We know how dangerous they are, and it's tough because you're going to see some massive changes, I think, coming with the Tampa Bay Lightning. So fitting for them to go back-to-back to see what happens with them in this offseason, because they're going to have to make some changes. They don't really have much of a choice.
Absolutely. All right, then. Our sponsors for today's show, Body Check Wellness, as always, created by Riley Cote. You can use the promo code you see there at the bottom of your screen, A2D, for 20% off of your order. It's a line of products using hemp and some THC-free ones as well. They have topicals, gummies, ointments, anything that you guys could utilize. It brings out focus and clarity, and really just helps improve your standing, going through all the mire sometimes of life where you got to go take care of the responsibilities of work and bills and stuff like that. It helps you kind of get through all that to enjoy life just a little bit more. And when Riley Cote is on with us, you can get 40% off as well, so always stay tuned because you never know when we have Riley on. 40% off with that A2D code. And sponsoring the poll question for tonight, and that is the Tampa Bay Lightning cheated by using a cap loophole. Agree or disagree? That is brought to you by, well, the doc, Mr. Paul Vidal, the guy over at Specialized Physical Therapy. Listen, man, if you got any aches and pains, Cherry Hill, Burlington, www.specializedphysicaltherapy.com. He'll take care of you. He took care of Brian's shoulder, and he said it's never been better, and it'll make it much easier for you guys, too.
Absolutely. Go see them. Go see Allie over in Burlington. Go check out Carrie in Cherry Hill. And I'm sure Dr. Paul's at both. So definitely check them out.
All right, then. So with the poll question up and running, the Tampa Bay Lightning cheated by using a cap loophole. Bri, what's your opinion on that?
I absolutely strongly, I've never disagreed so strongly to a poll question. They didn't do anything wrong. They did not cheat in any fashion. There's no salary cap in the playoffs. So what they did was perfectly legal. It's not even immoral, like what they did. They just happened to get Nikita Kucherov back at the perfect time, which was the playoff run. And it is what it is. Is there probably going to be a rule change after this? Maybe. We'll see. But did they cheat? Absolutely not. They did everything. They did everything right. The Tampa Bay Lightning are not the only team in NHL history to win the Stanley Cup because they were over the salary cap. So
nope. There's been plenty of teams
strongly disagree.
There have been plenty of teams who have had that cap loophole situation, and a lot of them don't win. Tampa happened to be one of the teams that's won. So that's the whole reason why everybody seems to be bitching and complaining. I loved, too, when Dougie Hamilton called them out and said, oh, you're however million over the cap. I'm like, Dougie, you fucking sucked ass in that series against Tampa. So guess what? Maybe you need to look in the mirror a little bit before you start throwing out the accusations of cheating, bud. You need to play better, or other words, you're never going to see a Stanley Cup. That's all I got to say about that. Sounds like some sour grapes.
I mean, it is what it is. I mean, everybody's going to have their different view on it. But like I said, Lightning did nothing illegal. There's nothing against the rules about what they did.
Absolutely.
There's no salary cap playoff hockey, so.
That is true. And that cap loophole's been there for a long time. And Tampa, ironically enough, I think Jesse or someone brought it up in the chat that Tampa actually voted against the cap loophole. Ironic how they get to win with this.
Here's the other ironic part about it. The Canadians were the one who voted for it.
True.
That's
very,
based off
very
of Jesse's
true.
comment. So I trust Jesse. Jesse, what's going on, brother?
Yeah, Jesse's here. We got Prism saying he's got us on the big TV, so that's awesome.
What's up, Prez? You get to see my ugly face up close.
And Jesse saying Vazzy is 26 years old, 2 Stanley Cups, a Vezina Trophy, and a Conn Smythe. All those playoff shutouts. This dude can, I guess, have his career along with the greatest goalies to ever play the game. Yeah.
He's working on it already.
Absolutely.
He's already working on it already. So this is kind of what I've been trying to say over the last year or two, especially concerning Carter Hart, is Vazzy didn't really start coming along until he was like 24, 25. So
True.
Got to keep the faith. You got to keep him in that. You got to work through all the negative stuff with Carter going right now. So
yeah,
remain faithful. He could turn in and be as good as an Andrei Vasilevsky. So just got to remain positive. Have faith that he's going to take the next step forward next year.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, honestly, you know, that we remember seeing with Tampa, we originally thought their big goaltender was going to be Ben Bishop. And then he got traded to Dallas and Vazzy took his place. And sure enough, they win 2 cups. I mean, I think Tampa was eventually going to win 1. I don't know if they would have won 2 if they didn't have Vasilevsky. If they don't have Vazzy, I don't know if they repeat here. But I will say this, though. We knew that eventually they were going to have to get their names on the cup. The team was way too talented not to get 1 at least. You know, at some point they were going to get their names etched on it. It was just a matter of time. Sure enough, here we are.
Yeah,
And
I mean, it is what it is. It is what it is. And Emilio, of course he can't. Carter Hart still has a lot of developing to do. He still has a lot of growing to do as a goaltender. You're talking a 4-year difference between these guys. And that 4 years, as much as that age isn't a big jump, but in NHL development and NHL experience, it's a big difference. So,
Emilio,
yeah.
I wouldn't be so down on Hart. Don't be down on Hart. Listen, a bad year. It was an awful year. The Flyers in general were bad. And so really at the end of the day, if anything, Hart improved towards the end of the year. He got back to his old ways of playing the game. Sure, he's not there with Vazzy yet, but he'll get there. He has all the potential of that. He has all the potential of being a top goaltender here. Emilio say, I agree, but
I get the but. I get it. But like I said, it is what it is. You know, there's nothing we can do to really change anything, but you know, Lightning are the champs again. And what can you do? What can you do? They did everything right.
Yeah, absolutely. And
Me and Amber were talking last night. It should have been the Avs, and I agree with that. But
the Avs looked like they were going to do it. But you did one cardinal sin. You won that fucking President's Trophy. You can't win that thing. Tampa knows that pain. They won it, and they got swept by Columbus. Don't win the President's Trophy. Only the Blackhawks seem to have the magic of how to survive winning it and winning the cup now.
Raska. we talked about this earlier. We're not bringing back old players. They can't afford to do that. There's too many young studs getting ready to come up for Anaheim.
However,
Stop with the bringing back Corey Perry and Patrick Maroon.
But he does redeem himself here. He says Tampa Bay Lightning won fair and square, winning second Stanley Cup champion. They did not cheat like the Astros did.
Oh, Amber.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
Emilio, I'm with you. I would love to see him succeed too, but time will tell, man. He's only 22. He's got time. He's got plenty of time.
Yeah. And Jesse makes a good point. Hart doesn't have Hedman, McDonough, Sergachev, and Chernak. I mean, yeah, and that's a very good point right there. The defense in front of Tampa, it was phenomenal right there.
Absolutely. Hold up. Ain't nobody saying nothing, Amber. I know you got 4 kids.
And Pete saying
they didn't cheat, and Pete saying what's up.
Yeah, what's up, Pete? And Don saying they didn't cheat, and he's correct. They did not cheat. Yes, the cap loophole's there. Yes, people have been making a big deal about it. But to me, I see it as a bunch of sour grapes because a lot of teams have been over the cap in the past when we've gotten to the playoff time, and there have been plenty of teams that have not won when they've been over the cap. So that's a bullshit argument.
And because they're $18 million over the cap, you're going to see changes like Amber is bringing up. Tampa will not be able to keep up next year. Can't wait to see the changes that happen. And she's right, because you're going to lose somebody to the expansion draft. And my prediction for Tampa is going to wind up being Tyler Johnson, who's going to get picked up. And then they still got a bunch of free agents that are going to be up. So they gotta figure out a way to clear the cap space. And one of the best ways is they're going to have to move players. They're going to have to let guys walk.
We got Greg saying
it's going to be a very different team next year.
True. Greg saying, what's up? What's up, Greg?
Greg.
And we got Adam. What's up, my boys? What's up, Adam?
Adam, you can check them. It seems like every other day on Kicking the Stateside lately. These guys have been on a streak.
Well, it's a big time for soccer with the Euro, and I believe it was, what was the other one? Copa America, I believe it was.
Copa America, yeah.
I
didn't even know they were going off at the same time. And then on top of it, you got all the Olympic stuff going off as well.
True. The Summer Olympics, which does have soccer in it. So, there you go.
They start in 2 weeks.
Yeah, I know. It's going to be interesting. Greg saying disagree to the poll. And let's see. And Amelia is saying, I think Tampa did nothing wrong. Great team.
I agree. And I agree with that completely.
Jake saying, what's up, boys? Do you think the Lightning could 3-peat? Now,
what's up, Jake?
Nope. Yeah, what's up, Jake? Now, here's the thing. Is it out of the realm of possibility Tampa could win another one? No. But will they 3-peat? That's a tall order to fill. Hell, that's a tall order to fill just to repeat, period. Pittsburgh couldn't do it with the team they had. Although, to be fair, if Washington hadn't stopped them in the semis, who knows what the fuck would have happened.
Yeah, but, what, 16, 17, and 18, right?
Yeah. So
the year that Washington didn't win the President's Trophy, so.
Yeah. Yeah, there you go. That's the key. So, overall, I mean, actually the key is getting Maroon on your team. That's the goal. So, the Flyers, off-season goal, we get Maroon. And then, good, we got our cup. That's all we need to do. That's all we need to do.
Stop it. Stop it.
What, if you bring it back to Anaheim like Rosca suggested, then you guys win the cup way ahead of time.
No, they won't. No, they won't.
They'll do on Montreal.
Anaheim's getting close, but they're not quite ready to start competing for a playoff spot yet. But they're getting close. Still got a few prospects to see if they can hack it in training camp this year. So I'm very much looking forward to that this year.
Yeah. Emilio's saying, let's talk what moves the Flyers will and won't make. Well, we know what one they won't. They won't be going after Maroon. Oh, let's see. What other ones we got? Jesse saying, having a young talent like Ross Colton as a rookie helps Tampa relieve the cap / expansion pain. True, and Colton did have the game-winning goal, the cup-clinching goal, as a matter of fact.
Jersey boy.
Victory. Oh, there you go. Hometown boy getting the job, boy. Yeah, hometown boy getting the job done, winning his team a chip. There you go. Adam saying Flyers make me sad. Go Kraken. So is the Kraken going to be
You're
your
gonna say Kraken for now, and then the Kraken are gonna come out and shit the bed too, and everyone's gonna be like,
I've
Kraken Flyers.
never liked the Kraken to begin with. Yeah.
Get
Pete
the
saying
team out of Seattle.
get Jalen Hurts head next to you, comment and join the membership club. Yeah, absolutely. Pete's name, that little symbol right there, that means that he's an A2D member. Listen, guys, everyone, if you got to, $9.99 a month, A2D membership. Listen, man, there's a ton of benefits that comes with being a A2D member. As a matter of fact, you get shout outs on shows, you get members only streams, and at the same time, you can get brought on the show with us and weekly sports picks in the money pot. We had Priz on here, and we got to work out. I think we can get Priz back on here for a draft show because now that we're in the off season, we're going to be getting into that kind of stuff. So we're going to work on getting him back on there for that. Guys, you can join us and stuff like that. So membership, absolutely worth it.
Oh, Chris. That makes me laugh. Convince him to play goalie. He could barely play point guard. You want to see if he can play goalie. Come on, Chris. What's going on, brother? Yeah, man. I mean, a lot of benefits to being an A2D member. It's only $9.99 a month, and you get all kinds of crazy shit. Like Matt was saying, you get tips from the Money Pot podcast on bets and shit like that, and then you can jump on here with us for a couple minutes, rant, rave, call us morons, and keep it moving. So, like I said, just $9.99 a month. Sign up. All kinds of perks.
Emilio saying, don't expect the Kraken to have the same success the Golden Knights have had straight out of the gun. Be interesting to see. I mean, I think they tightened a little bit of the protected list, but at the same time, too, I think GMs are going to be a little bit more cautious going into this expansion draft than I think they were with the Golden Knights, because I don't think anyone really expected it. I mean, maybe the Golden Knights organization possibly, but they did say that they didn't expect to compete. However, though, not only did they compete, they went all the way to the final. So I think after that kind of lightning in the bottle situation, I expect there to be a little bit more caution from other teams than to just let players walk that have some potential to them.
Yeah, I mean, all right. So with that came with, hiring George McAfee as their first GM, which was a great move on Vegas's part. And I've gone over this, I feel like 1,000 times. Then you bring in Gerard Gallant,
the coach. Yep.
So McAfee, you can pretty much say has, essentially built that Capitals team. I thought he did a great job there. Shame they won after him, but he put together a very good team in Washington. To say that he wasn't going to pick talent and to pick the best players he possibly could and build a good team in Vegas, it's a little crazy. Do I think Seattle can recreate it? Yeah. Do I think it's going to be as good? No. And a part of the reason is that because of who their head coach is going to be. And it's not any hate towards Hackstall, because I'm sure he learned a lot in Toronto, but he's still a relatively young coach. And he still has a lot of learning to do as a head coach in the NHL. A lot of success at the NCAA level. But he still has a lot to learn as a head coach. So I don't think Seattle's going to put up the same kind of stuff that Vegas did before. But I also think Vegas put themselves in position with the front office and the coaching staff to succeed right away. And I don't think Seattle's doing that. So, Wills.
Hey, Wills. What's going on, brother?
I see Benny in there, too. What's up, Benny?
Hey, Benny. And Chris saying, yeah, we're waiting until draft night, which will be next week. We'll be having the expansion draft will officially come into play, so that should be fun.
That's an understatement. Well, Vasilevsky is beyond stud.
Yes, absolutely. And let's see here. Jesse's saying, I wouldn't need internet security. I'd have Andrew McDonald to defend me from viruses. Next thing you know, Jesse loses his identity, his credit cards and everything like that.
I was about to say, that's not exactly I mean, Andrew McDonald was a horrible defender. He was good with the Islanders, but when he came to the Flyers, he was just horrible. He turned into a big traffic cone.
Yeah, he was a big pylon and earned the ire from me. He actually, it was weird. Like, my ire was all on Luke Shen, and then he just doubled it. I could not believe someone was even worse than him. It was an amazing, amazing journey of the Flyers defense of how terrible it actually was. And yes, it has been improved, even after the season we've had. And let's see, Jesse's saying, also, I'd like to throw in John Cooper, underrated. Dude has won at every single level.
Yeah, no, actually, I don't know if he's underrated. I think he's perfectly rated where he is. He's easily a top 5 coach in the NHL. I mean, you really can't argue otherwise. I mean, look at all the success he's had. I think they've been in the playoffs just about every year he's been a head coach.
Yeah,
he may have missed a year or two here and there, but for the most part, Tampa Bay's been a very strong. There was a rumor going around when they had the one bad year that they were going to fire John Cooper.
There was.
I bet they're happy they didn't.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and I think a lot of that was a lot of the frustrations that Tampa went through before finally winning in 2020 and then winning the one this year. You know, Tampa had embarrassed themselves getting swept by Columbus, and then they had made the Western Conference Finals, I think, 2 or 3 times, or Eastern Conference Finals, not Western Conference, Eastern Conference Finals 2 or 3 times, and came up short all 3 times.
Dude,
so
Devin Booker is something, but he had 2 guys all over him, and he still hit that shot. For those who are curious, it's Game 2 of the NBA Finals tonight. Phoenix Suns up 60-48 over Milwaukee right now in the beginning of the second half.
So we have
what was your mom screaming about? Who just hit a 2-run homer?
I have no idea, honestly, but I'm going to assume that 2-run homer was for the Phillies. That would be my assumption there.
That would be a great assumption.
It's been reported that
his third home run tonight.
Who did it? Their third home run?
Brad Miller just hit his 3rd home run tonight. Are you kidding me?
Chris Dunn. I think he sums it up. Brad effing Miller. Holy crap!
Are you serious right now?
Amelia was saying Brad Miller has 3 home runs, and Prism's also saying, right on, Brian. Fuck Tampa.
Come on, Priz. You know. We talk every day. You know.
Prism, unfortunately, his team fell just a little short on that.
Not only has Brad Miller hit 3 home runs tonight, he's hit 3 long home runs tonight. Every single one of his home runs were not cheap. He got a hold of all 3 of them. He's not going to hit another home run the rest of the year. I guarantee that.
This was his big night.
But yeah, that's pretty awesome. That's pretty awesome that Brad Miller's having a great night. Good for him. Take 3 out of 4 from the Cubbies.
Yeah, the Cubs end their, what was it, like a 10 or 12 game losing streak or some shit like that, and then they lose the next game.
Something like that. Something like that. But that's awesome though. I'm happy for Brad Miller.
So, on to that. Let's take a look at the playoffs just to kind of wrap it up in a nice, pretty bow here. So review Game 5, and then after that, we'll go through the teams. And I came up with a fun little game. We'll call it the Walk of Shame, and we'll talk about what teams deserve to absolutely be paraded around in the streets like in Game of Thrones and have someone waving a bell behind them, very annoyingly yelling shame at them while they get pelted shit at them. So, before we dive into that, let's take a look at Game 5. So, it was 1-0. Now, as unexciting as that score may sound, though, it was very intense. You had Tampa defense absolutely having to just stop everything that Montreal was throwing at them and doing a great job of it because not many shots by the time you got to the second period, ironically enough, for Montreal. Really great performance from Tampa in the first, shutting down Montreal, making it very frustrating for them to get any offense going. And what shots they did get through, Vasilevsky had the answer. Then eventually they did get some better chances as the game went along. Still, though, really great play from Vasilevsky, ultimately keeping Montreal, scoreless, and eventually that one goal from Colton being the deciding factor in the goal and a 1-0 victory for Tampa and they repeat as Stanley Cup champions. What stuck out from you in the game there, Bri?
Same thing that stuck out the first 4 games. Lack of offense, no pressure on Vasilevsky, letting him make all the easy saves. The Tampa Bay defense, knowing how good they are, allowing them to stay on the outside, not really pressuring or peppering anything from high quality chances go. But it's been the same issue through games 1, 2, and 3, like it was in game 5. Just no offense, no high quality shots, nothing really challenging. The couple goals that they did have throughout the series were all deflections or tip-ins or something along those lines. They really got no offense going. That was their biggest issue. The penalty kill did their job. They did their job. They only gave up two power play goals throughout the entire series out of all the goals that they scored.
What was weird? Yeah, it was weird. Like Tampa's power play really struggled in this.
I'm not surprised by that because Montreal's penalty kills was awesome throughout the entire playoffs. I think they only they didn't convert 5 or 6 throughout the entire run.
Yeah,
which was huge, which is why they won those series the way they did. But that was not an opportune time for that offense to go quiet. I mean, you had Joel Armina, who didn't really do much. He was huge on the penalty kill. That was pretty much about it. Philip Deneau, nowhere to be found. Brendan Gallagher, nowhere to be found. Josh Anderson, once he hit the Stanley Cup Finals, nowhere to really be found. He had, 2 goals in 1 game? That was it. Nick Suzuki, nowhere to be found. He was a nuisance against the Flyers last year. Just kind of... That offense was really what stuck out to me, especially in Game 5. They've been shut out twice in the entire series. They were held to 1 goal in 2 games in that series. In the 1 game they won, I think they wound up only scoring a 3-2 win?
Yeah, I believe so.
You can't win games without scoring goals, especially against a team like Tampa Bay who can pop them.
True.
Crazy.
And what's up, Kmon? Hollabo? What's going on, man? And he's saying, Tampa straight owned last night, and he said, it was the first time watching a full game of hockey. Huh. Interesting. That's interesting. Yeah. Hopefully you like the game, man. Hopefully you'll watch it some more. He's saying crazy how the defense was and the offense as well. Yeah. Yeah, hockey's a wild game.
It's, like I said, that defense that Tampa has is as good as they are. They can easily be beaten, but Montreal didn't do much to really put a ton of pressure on that defense or Vasilevsky. They spent a lot of time in the zone, but they didn't really put forth any real quality shots.
Absolutely. Yeah, and that's just showing the testament of what Tampa was doing. Tampa was just frustrating Montreal the entire series. And, we talked about it. The only win Montreal got was from overtime. And the only reason it went to overtime was because they almost coughed up that win too, which would have made it a sweep. They almost got swept if they hadn't gotten that overtime win from Anderson.
Yeah, it was Josh Anderson.
It was Josh Anderson.
And this goes back to a tone to what I've been saying about Montreal's penalty kill the entire time. You have a 4-minute double minor you have to kill off in the final 2 minutes of the third. That's actually less than that. It was less than that. And you get through the rest of the third, which is great. You had gave up a couple really good chances, but, Carey Price came up huge. So now you go into the overtime, clean sheet of ice. I was with the entire NHL and NBC crew saying that this was going to be a quick finish. And it was. It just didn't go the way that I thought it was going to go. Montreal's penalty kill came up huge, and that was a huge momentum shift in Montreal's favor, which is why I think they've found a way to figure out how to pull that win out of their butt. And Cole Caulfield doing what he does best is, putting himself in a good position to get a good shot off. He believe he was in he was in the slot and got a great shot.
Yeah.
Hit the pad in the right spot. Puck lay dead there for Josh Anderson. Josh Anderson put the overtime winner home. So
it was a funny silly too because he fell on his back, so he was just at all fours up as he slid on the ice. That was actually hilarious.
That made it even better. Came on. How many games were there in the series itself? It's best of 7. Tampa Bay wound up winning in 5.
Yeah. So it basically, usually it's always a best of 7. Sometimes they do a best of 5 under strenuous circumstances like last year. But let's see. Jesse was saying the most heartbroken team is probably the Islanders. They probably are sitting there saying they were a 1-0 Game 7 away from a cup win. Yeah, I mean,
could have been. Might have been the other way around too.
Same thing happened to the Islanders, too. They were shut out 1-0 by Vasilevsky. By the way, Vasilevsky, every series that he closed out, he did it in a shutout. So that's a pretty damn impressive accomplishment on Vasilevsky. I can't think of any goalie who did it before him. There probably is. I just can't think of one right now.
And
but he's probably the first one to do it in a long time.
Only one other player on that roster right now that I would have even considered for Conn Smythe, and that was Brayden Point.
Yeah.
Nobody else measured up to what Vasilevsky is the reason Montreal did not win the Stanley Cup final this year. A minus Game 3. Game 3, that offense just completely went off. But Montreal was not out of any of those games. They just didn't put up enough goals.
Yeah. He came out saying I was rooting for anyone but Tampa because I'm from Florida and they already won the Super Bowl this year. Yeah, they pretty much dominated. I mean, the Rays got to the World Series. They didn't win it, but they won the AL. And then after that, then you get Tom Brady doing what Tom Brady does. Him and Gronk, actually. Literally, he just called up Gronk saying, hey, man, come out of retirement and play in Tampa. We're going to go win another Super Bowl. And they proceeded to do that.
Pretty much we did.
And then Tampa wins their second straight. So, yeah, it's a good time to be a Tampa fan.
Matters worse is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers brought back their entire Super Bowl winning roster, so they'll probably make another run. And then the Tampa Bay Rays, they got better too. So you know, we were saying in 2017 that Philadelphia was going to be the city champions. We were dead wrong. Tampa Bay is the city champions right now. So.
What happened in 2017? I forget. 2017? What did the Eagles do in 2017? They won
a Super Bowl.
That's right. And then after that, the Sixers got eliminated. What was it, in the semifinals that year by Raptors?
Second round.
Yeah, and then the Flyers didn't even make it. I don't think. Was that
2017?
Was that? I think that was one of the years we missed.
No, that was the alternate year. Yeah.
Yeah, and then after that, the Phillies didn't make it either. So there you go.
Phillies were just the Phillies, man.
Oh,
whatever.
Anyway,
what's Priz saying? What's he rambling on about? Makes you sad because I'm really high on Kakaniemi's potential and is still the youngest 20 or so player. Listen,
that's a follow-up from this comment.
He's great. I love Kakaniemi. I think they should have scratched him because he wasn't being very productive offensively like he should have been. He had a couple big plays here and there, but he was another one who was just completely non-existent once the Stanley Cup Finals started. He had a couple big goals in the semifinals, but other than that, he was non-existent too. So I don't blame I forget how you say his name, Duchene. And
okay, yeah.
I don't blame Duchene for scratching him because you got to shake up the roster. You're facing elimination.
I think it's Duchene. I think it's the French pronunciation.
Either way, we're American here. We speak American here.
We speak American, a bastardized version of English.
But yeah, I mean, Montreal's offense just went dead. So,
I mean, and here's him saying, Point is my personal terrorist.
Personal, huh?
And then he also goes on to say, Stars last year, Habs this year. He's fucking stalking me like a serial dream killer.
He really is. He's so good.
See, here's the funny part, though. I asked Priz on Twitter, when did he start becoming a Stars fan? Because I feel like Priz, I know it's painful to watch your team lose the Stanley Cup final, but to be fair, Priz has had himself quite a nice little decade. He saw the Blackhawks win 3 Stanley Cups, so you can't really be too. Maybe that's why Montreal and the Stars didn't win, because they knew Prism was a fan And, well, your Blackhawks got 3 cups. We got to even it out now. The other 2 got to lose. I don't know.
If it makes you feel any better, Anaheim can't win a Game 7 if it makes you feel any better.
I mean, though, you did get to see your team win one, though. So, I mean, there is that. I mean,
yeah, but it doesn't matter anymore because it was 13 years ago.
Yeah, but, I mean, think about it this way. I've seen the 2 teams I like. I've seen them go to 3 separate finals, and the Flyers lost both. And then the Sharks lost the one. So, there you go.
I'm 1 for 2. And then I've had heartbreak in the Western Conference Finals because of teams like Chicago, who was in mid-dynasty mode at that point, and LA Kings, who were borderline dynasty at that point. So,
that's a good point. Yeah, that's a tough one. But Jesse's saying Ryan McDonough was the unsung hero. Dude was not flashy at all and put on an absolute defensive clinic all series. And Ryan McDonough, great player. You know, it's crazy to think that the Rangers, they traded him to Tampa, and then, well, I believe they got St. Louis in that deal. And sure enough, Tampa's been prospering ever since. Just defensively, they have been phenomenal. Getting McDonough and then having him with, they had him with Coburn for a period of time. And then they've also had him with Hedman and the rest. And like I said, been nothing but prosperous for Tampa, whereas I think it was one really great year from St. Louis in the Rangers organization.
St. Louis was not a part of that deal.
Oh, he was not? Okay, who was a part of that deal?
Ryan McDonough and JT Miller.
Oh, it was JT Miller, okay.
Labor, Hayjack, Brett Howden, and a first.
Okay, but either way, it was another one of those fucking deals. The Rangers and the Lightning were trade partners for a period of time there. I forget what that deal was for St. Louis, but anyway. It was with Tampa, if I remember. Oh, it had to have been with Tampa because he was with Tampa. But anyway, point is, Tampa was plenty.
So I'll tell you, I'm looking at it right now.
Okay, what was it?
Give me 1 second here. Thing keeps going back. So it looked like it was Ryan Callahan.
Oh, it was Callahan. That's right.
Ryan Callahan for Martin St. Louis. And it looked like it was a first. A couple firsts were swapped as well.
Okay.
Show me the overall deal. Jesus Christ.
Came on saying, Tampa was planning on spending money on their sports teams to help bring back vacation people. Well, it worked. It absolutely worked. Oh, man.
All right, here we go. So, Martin St. Louis went to the Rangers for Ryan Callahan, a 2015 first-round pick and a 14 conditional second-round pick, which I think wound up turning into a first. The condition was, should the Rangers advance to the Eastern Conference Final, the 14th second rounder would become a first-round pick. In the event Callahan should re-sign with the Lightning, which he did, the Rangers would receive Tampa Bay's second-round pick at the 2015 draft, while the Lightning would receive the Rangers' 7th. So they wound up swapping the 2nd, and the 7th in 2015, and they wound up getting 2 first-round picks because I believe 2014 was the year the Rangers went to the Stanley Cup Final.
And
play the Kings.
Yeah, they lost that one in 5, actually, ironically enough. Heartbreaking. Oh boy, I wonder if that's going to be the same thing for Carey Price. The heartbreaking fact that that's the only final he's going to have. Like Lundqvist, that was the only final he has to this date, and that may very well go down as just period. I hope not for Price. Hopefully maybe he'll show up and get back into another final before it's all said and done.
Yeah,
but
poor. Like, I don't know how I feel about everybody's giving like Pat Maroon so much. Pat Maroon does nothing for the team.
It's not that.
Really
it's just it's the good luck charm. That's what it is. It's like the equivalent of the lucky rabbit's foot.
The one thing that I will give Pat Maroon is he's a big body and he does a really good job of, clearing out front of the net, getting gritty, getting physical, getting in people's heads. He was chirping. Who was he chirping last night? It was actually really funny. I forget who it was. I forget who he was chirping, but he's just.
Was he the one who yelled "fuck" right in the middle of the?
Probably, but he was chirping Josh Anderson in Game 4.
Okay, I forget. I forget who it was, because at the end of the game, when they were doing the cup, parade thing, someone was holding the cup up, and they didn't blurt it out on NBC while I think it was Kenny Albert was talking, but you could hear it. He's like, "Come fucking on, Tampa!" And he just yelled at it. I'm like, "Fucking great! They got it on."
They never do that. They don't do that for. I don't
Oh.
think they can do that. Actually, I don't think they can put that out on delay. But
that
every Stanley Cup, when they start, lifting the cup and all that stuff, you hear it all. You hear it all.
I know. It was funny as hell, though. It was funny as hell to hear that. Oh my god, I thought that was fucking great. But anyway, but what was it? Oh yeah, Jesse saying, "Yeah, come on, Priz. Us Flyers fans' greatest bright spot in the last 20 years is when they gave us the big ass orange fucker and gritty." Yeah, it's kind of true.
Yeah.
Maybe that and Bush's save in the shootout that sent us into the 2010 playoffs.
That's what it was, Benny. That's what it was. You have the same number of goals as I do. That was the chirp.
Funny. Really good chirp, though.
But anyway, that's what he does. And it's no disrespect to Patrick Maroon because he plays his role and he knows what he has to do and he does it well. I mean, he had a huge game time goal in Game 4. So, but it's just that everybody's acting like Patrick Maroon's this huge part, blah blah blah. He's a 3-time. It's all well and good. He's a 3-time Stanley Cup champion, 3 times in a row. That's great for Patrick Maroon. Yeah, he is a little bit of a good luck charm, but how much of an impact did he actually have on these teams actually winning the cup?
We got the broken one chiming in. What's up, Robbie? Saying NBC said we lose in hockey anyway, so fuck it, let it air.
And like I said, they've been letting that go for a very, very long time. So.
Oh, and by the way,
they would eventually learn to delay it, but they don't, which is fine. I'm fine with it.
In case anybody is wondering, the broken one is not here with us. Obviously, I'm sure you've taken that guess by now. We're about 40 minutes into the show, but he will be back next week. Had to take care of some business there and pay some bills of his own, so that's why. But anyway, all right. So let's do the Walk of Shame. Let me pull up the bracket for this year, this most recent Stanley Cup playoff. And overall, though, Brian, while I'm doing that, what would you, if you had to give this one a rating for the playoffs this year, what would you give it? Like, would you give it like like around the 10 range, around the 1? What are you feeling on that?
I thought it was a very, very intriguing, very entertaining playoff up until, and I saw somebody ask this in the comments. I forget who it was. It may have been Jesse or somebody, but I thought the Stanley Cup final was kind of dull and boring. Wasn't very entertaining, but up until that point, I thought, all in all, I would probably give this playoff about an 8.5, 9 out of 10 as far as rating goes. Very intriguing, a lot of high energy, a lot of entertainment, a lot of offense, a lot of feistiness between all these teams playing. And then, go figure, you get to the most exciting part. I'd give that Stanley Cup final I don't know, 4, 3 in that range. It just wasn't entertaining.
I'm going to say the last really great Stanley Cup final, honestly, for me, was St. Louis and Boston. And the reason why I say that is because I feel like not only did I have a very much an investment in that, because I absolutely did not want to see Boston win another fucking Stanley Cup. I think the world could do without that for the rest of its existence. If they never win a cup, it'd be too soon. But St. Louis winning that cup was also great because it ended their not having a cup, and it was a rematch, ironically enough, from back all the way in the freaking 60s. So there's that too. Or actually, I think that was the one in 70. But anyway, the point is that it was really fun. It was a 7-game series. And sure, the 7th game wasn't really exciting because Rask did kind of lay an egg in that game. But still, at the end of the day, though, it was a great series. It went full 7.
I thoroughly enjoyed Washington and Vegas in 2018. I thought that was a really, really entertaining, really physical battle between the two teams. I forget how long it went. I think it went like 6 or 7. I can't remember specifically, but I remember being a physical battle between two teams, two high-powered offenses, and that to me was the more entertaining final that I've seen in a while. 2019 was okay. I didn't think it was bad. And then the last 2 years, I kind of thought they were kind of duds. Like, there was a lot of speciality behind the 2020 for obvious reasons, and getting the game back and getting through the playoffs, getting essentially hockey being the first one to raise a trophy.
Yeah.
Since the world shut down, and it was an amazing moment, and I'm not going to forget it for so many different reasons. It was just a really special moment, but the series themselves were just boring.
Yeah, I got you.
For those who can't see this, can't read it, just joining us, whatever. I love this idea because, and Maddie, you got to get in on this too. Me, Priz, and Robbie were talking about this in our group chat, and he wants to know who our prediction is for the biggest name for the Kraken to walk away with from the expansion draft on the 21st. For me, I'm not sure. I've got to look to see what the projected lists are going to look, or protected lists are going to look like. That'll be released on the 18th or the 19th. And right now, if I'm going to go off the top of my head, the biggest name, or the first biggest name, is going to be Adam Henrique.
Interesting. Let me think here. I
like Giordano. That's an interesting pick.
That is an interesting one right there. Let me think. For me, I'm going to say...
Benny's saying Tarasenko.
That's an interesting.
That's interesting because he definitely he officially requested a trade today or yesterday.
That is in the news. That I do have the notes up for the news on that one. We were going to definitely talk about that. If I'm going to say who I think their biggest walk away with, for me, I'm going to say that.
I mean, this is also there's also different variables to who they could wind up with, because we don't know what the draft order is going to look like yet.
We don't.
So I don't know if they're going to do it in alphabetical order, or if they're going to do it based off of the NHL entry draft order, or what. But I mean, we don't know exactly what the order is going to be on how they're going to pick.
Honestly, I'm going to look at it and I'm going to say that they're going to take a big name from Tampa. And I think that it might also be because Tampa wants them to take a big name so they can clear up some space. Maybe they take Kucherov.
No. He's not going anywhere. They'll protect him. I think if one of the bigger names that is going to get taken, and I agree that they're going to take a big name from Tampa, it's going to be Tyler Johnson. They've already tried moving him. I think they waived him at some point this year, so they'll probably leave him unprotected, and they're going to free up a good chunk of money getting him off the books there.
Yeah, but it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see what Seattle does. When they get to that Tampa pick, it's going to be very, very intriguing. That's one I'm going to hone in on big time. See what they're going to take from him.
Blake Coleman's a free agent anyway, so.
Well, yeah, Coleman's up for grabs.
Maybe Sergachev. Maybe, I don't know. Like I said, this is all going to different variables here. It's gonna change my idea on who gets taken. But I do think of anybody on Tampa right now, it's going to be Tyler Johnson. He's just the only one that really makes sense. And
I'm not sure. Cooch does have a no movement clause.
Yeah,
he does.
Even if he doesn't, they're going to protect him.
Yeah, because that would, and yeah, so if that happened, yeah.
I mean, he's the heart and soul of that offense. I mean, say what you want, Stammer may have the say, but he's the heart and soul of that team.
He's saying, is it odd that I already hate Seattle?
No, I do too.
I don't know. I mean, I really don't hate Seattle, but then again, that's in the West, so I guess that's the reason why I don't hate them. I mean, also at the same time, too, San Jose, the team I like out West, sucks. So at this point, and they're going to suck for a while because they won't change the team. So at this point, I'm like, fuck it. On that side of the board.
I'm in that same boat. I hate Seattle. I hate Vegas. I hate LA. I hate Arizona. I hate San Jose. I think I already said them, but I'm going to say them again because I hate them.
Makes sense. Being the California teams, so, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And the person saying, fuck you, Stamkos Islanders fans, a.k.a. my spirit animal.
Speaking of, I think Jesse brought it up. Let's talk about this real quick before we move on.
Sure.
Kucherov's drunken statements about the Montreal fans. Did you hear that?
No, did not actually. What was it? I know he was saying it on the press conference, right?
Yeah, so essentially, and I'm just going to paraphrase because I don't know word for word. I think it was Jesse who said it, was something along the lines of like, you know, these fans were celebrating like they won the Stanley Cup after winning Game 4. Essentially saying that they didn't deserve the cup.
Wow.
Like I'm in agreement. It's like, what's with the and it's not just Montreal. It's a lot of different ones that I saw over the playoffs. What's with these fan bases acting like they won a Stanley Cup after winning one game?
No, that's a good point. Yeah.
These are probably the same fans that sit there and argue with you saying, my team's better than yours because we actually made the playoffs. You didn't.
Oh, yeah.
Shithead. What did you win?
That's like a Montreal fan saying that their team is better than Toronto. Yes, your team beat the team in a playoff series, but on paper, your team is not better than Toronto's. If we're going based off of just what the team's makeup is, Toronto is the better team. However, the team that's better playoff-wise, at least when it comes to clutch games and clutch moments, I will give you that one. They've proven themselves in that. However, Toronto on paper is the better team. Toronto, if you put them in a series with Montreal, they should have won, and Toronto could have, but they fucked it up. So again, that's
That's the thing, and Benny, you're on point with some of these quotes here. Kuch also went out to say that Montreal's cup was the last round. So, but like my point is like these fan bases are out there acting like they're actually winning shit when they're not winning anything. What? Okay, so you want to sit here and say, all right, Montreal got to the Stanley Cup final. They're better than Anaheim. What did Montreal win? You got to the Stanley Cup final. Good for you. What'd you walk away with?
A Clarence S. Campbell Bowl. And that's their first ever one. They'll never win it again because that's for the Western Conference.
Well, that kind of defeats my point. But like, you didn't walk away with the Stanley Cup final.
It's a booby prize.
You don't walk away with the Stanley Cup. Neither did Anaheim. You won the same thing that Anaheim won.
Yeah, I mean, the conference title is a booby prize. As much as it. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying you shouldn't be happy or proud that you got it. I'm very proud that the Flyers were able to win one in 2010. But at the end of the day, it's a booby prize. At the end of it's the same thing with the Atlantic Division
what you play for.
Or the Metro. You know what I mean?
It's not what you play for. Like that's exactly my point. It's all well and good. Okay, good for you. You made the playoffs. You still walked away with nothing. Good for you. You got to the playoffs. You won a playoff round. You won 2 playoff rounds. Did you walk away with the Stanley Cup? No. Well, then you won the same thing that Anaheim did.
Yeah, you came up short, just like all the other teams that didn't make it to the final and didn't even make it to the playoffs. So anyway, there you go.
I'm done with that rant. But that's just
Rob saying, "Buck nasty." What can I say about your suit that hasn't already been said about? Oh my god, it's bombed out and depleted. Oh my god.
Damn. That's all I gotta say, Both. Damn.
Jesse saying, I can see Seattle taking Matt Dumba, Matt Duchene, PK Subban, Nolan Patrick as bigger names they take. It'll be interesting. I mean, I could see if the Flyers don't protect Nolan Patrick, I could totally see Seattle taking him. I mean, yeah, he had a down year, but he still has potential. So I could totally see Seattle saying, you know what, let's give him a go. You know, what's the worst? He doesn't pan out. He didn't pan out in Philly, so let's take a chance. Yeah,
I'm not sure about. Matt Dumba is a possibility. I don't know what his contract looks like. PK Subban, I know, has 1 year left, so he's a very good possibility. I know Nolan Patrick wants out of Philadelphia, so he's another really good possibility. So,
yeah. Again, I could totally see Nolan Patrick going. And, yeah, I could see Matt Duchene. Matt Dumba, that would be interesting. PK Subban, yeah, I mean, I think New Jersey would love for him to go, honestly.
No, I know for a fact because I have a couple of Devil friends and they're ready to get rid of him. They're over him.
So, yeah, they would very much be happy to see him go. Prism saying Toronto spent all their money on 4 forwards. Toronto is thin in other areas. They need a lot of help in the blue line, in my opinion. Well, that's true. They absolutely do. I'm just saying, on paper, though, when you look at the teams, it's like Toronto should have won that, and we know they should have won that. But
I mean, they've got Morgan Riley back there, who's a really good one. I'm a big fan of Morgan Riley. I think he's a good defender. I can't remember who else they have back there. Tyson Berry went to Edmonton.
yes.
But anyway, yeah, I mean, I agree. They need to fix that blue line.
And Jesse saying, Cooch was right. The Lightning would play the Canadiens 3 times over than play another Islanders series. No, and I agree, because they shut the Canadiens down. They had a hard time with the Islanders. The Islanders gave them a handful and barely even beat the Islanders, too, because they only won 1-0 and they won shorthanded. So if they had never had that moment, that shit's going to overtime, and who the fuck knows what happens then. So, again, yeah, absolutely. And then we got Chrome chiming in. What's up, Chrome?
What's up, Chrome?
He's saying, hey, fellas, glad this joke of a season with shitty alignment is over. Yeah, we are going to go back to a normal 82 come this October with the regular division.
They didn't have much of a choice for the alignment, though.
Yeah.
They didn't. They had to create a divisions and everything based off of travel restrictions. So here's the thing, though. As happy as I am we're back to normal, I'm also somewhat annoyed because, again, we're dealing with the Metropolitan Division, and it's the worst division you could possibly be in because, again, you're dealing with the Rangers, you're dealing with the Islanders, you're dealing with the Capitals, you're dealing with the Penguins, and you're dealing with the Hurricanes, not Columbus. I think Columbus, they got some things they got to figure the fuck out. So just those teams alone is enough to make you go, oh, for fuck's sake, what the fuck is going to happen this year? Because the Metropolitan Division is just going to be another one of those years where it's like, motherfucker. Well, like you said, they're probably going to go back to normal this year. It depends. Actually, now that all the travel restrictions are actually lifted for the most part. But like, I agree. I wasn't a big fan of the alignment, but what are you going to do? At the beginning of the season, they weren't sure who was going to be able to go where. And up until recently, you weren't able to travel to Canada.
They only lifted it right when the semifinals got going, so Vegas could go to Montreal and Montreal could go to Vegas.
And I'll be honest with you, I don't even know if the Toronto Blue Jays are even back in Toronto yet. I don't even know if they're going to let them go back to Toronto and let them finish out the year in Buffalo.
Yeah, I don't know.
I
really don't.
It is like this stupid pandemic has done a lot to ruin a lot of things and make things shitty. But you know what? On the plus side, we have all our sports back. We have, all the restrictions everything's starting to go back to normal-ish. So let's go.
Benny's interesting. I think Washington and Pittsburgh take a step back this year. I don't know, man. We were saying step backs this previous year when we began, and nope. A lot of teams didn't take a step back. We thought they would. Washington took a step. They kept their window open, if anything. I mean, they propped it open with a fucking little matchstick. So I don't know how much longer that's going to last, but still.
Washington might. Pittsburgh, I don't think they do. I think they do a quick retooling over this offseason, and they're back to where they were.
Pittsburgh's just going to be frustrating.
Pittsburgh's going to be fine with Ron Hextall at the helm.
Yeah, and that's the problem. It's like Pittsburgh is going to be a pain in the ass, as they always are. I mean, as long as Crosby and Malkin are there and you put good players around them, that team's going to be frustrating to deal with. It's just as simple as that. Goaltending, we'll see what Jari does this year. I don't know if maybe they try to make a change there, but we'll see.
I know Florida is shopping one of their goaltenders,
so they might go after that. Yeah, I could see that.
Chris Devringer, or whatever the hell you say his last name.
Okay. I got you.
So they're going to play Spencer Knight and Bobrovsky. So
Bobrovsky before he retires. Well, Brian, are you still in that 100% category on that?
Mm-hmm. He's going to re-sign that contract, and in a full 82, he's going to get back up into that 40-45 range. And he probably signs a 3-year contract. I think he could definitely do it in 3 years. I haven't looked at the numbers since, but I think he definitely does it. And then he goes and plays 1 year over in the KHL, retires, and calls it a career.
I could see it happening. How healthy can they be over an 82-game stretch? Well, I mean, over an 82-game stretch, injuries can come and go. But the thing is, though, is that if your team is playing well the injuries really, if you can weather injuries, you'll be fine. I mean, that's the thing. Like, injuries will always be there, but if your team can weather them, it really doesn't matter.
Yeah, Jesse, for sure. And Spencer Knight, they let him play a little too late in that series, in my opinion. But, Spencer Knight showed in the playoffs on a pretty bright light, mind you, against a very tough team, that he could play. He can definitely play. And I think he winds up being the starter. I think he starts over Bobrovsky if Bobrovsky doesn't get dealt.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so let's take a look here at our Walk of Shame. Let's see who we've got going on the Walk of Shame parade. I was telling these guys about Spencer Knight before the World Juniors. He's going to be a monster. Yeah. I think we saw a real good preview of him for what Florida could have. So let's get started here in the Central Division. We have Carolina. No, I think Carolina shouldn't be in the Walk of Shame. Yeah, they lost to Tampa in the next round, but really at the end of the day, Carolina had a really good year, and I think as long as they continue to shore up certain things here or there, I think Nedeljkovic might very well be the answer they've been looking for in goal in terms of still, more solidified. And, like I said, they knew maybe a few things here and there defensively, possibly some offense. But overall, though, I think Carolina, they're fine. I wouldn't put them in a Walk of Shame category.
I absolutely would, because they had high expectations, and especially for me, because of how well they played throughout the entire regular season, the amount of production that they were getting. They kind of mishandled Nashville. I think they should have swept Nashville, to be completely honest with you. I think they were just a much better team. And then, you get up against Tampa, and let's be real, they got outplayed in most of those games. They scored it and didn't show that, but Tampa Bay spent a lot of time in Carolina's zone. And Nedeljkovic was just unbelievable. I thought he was probably the main reason why they didn't get blown out. And to me, they should have been Stanley Cup final bound. Should have been. So I'll give them the Walk of Shame.
All right, then. So moving on, we go to Nashville. No. The fact that Nashville even got here is impressive, and that they fought Carolina hard. So, no, Nashville's not going to get a Walk of Shame. Let's see.
For sure. They made a good run towards the end of the season just to get that playoff spot.
Yeah, Prism saying Nashville got hot at the end of the year and into the first round. They were going to scrap. They were going to scrap with anyone they faced with. Yeah, that's true.
Oh yeah, and they did. Like I said, Nashville should have got swept, but they didn't because they clawed back in a couple of those games. I believe it was at home too, in Nashville, where they crawled back and made it 2-2.
Yeah,
they didn't go down without a fight,
and they won both those games in overtime too. So the Catfish people were very happy that evening. Both of them. So let's see here.
Someone was selling the Stanley Cup trophy.
Oh my God, that is
what's up, DB?
What's up, DB? All right, so let's see here. Next up, Florida. Florida's a tough one because as you see it, like we did expect them to actually do something this year. I don't know, man. I'm kind of torn on this one. On one part, it's like, yeah, you could have won this series, but at the same time, I feel like they couldn't handle Tampa. And I feel like it's like, well, is it really shocking Florida got eliminated in the first round? And part of me says, no, it's really not. That Tampa, the big brother, got rid of them. I don't know, man. You know what? I'm going to go... I'm going to say no. I think they had a strong year. I think they got something to go with here. It's just I feel like they drew Tampa and they weren't able to beat Tampa. It's as simple as that for me.
I don't give them the Walk of Shame for sure. I mean, they definitely for sure built a team to make a little bit of a run, but I think they had a couple big injuries that really hurt, especially losing Aaron Ekblad. I think that really hurt their defense for sure. And then they just got inconsistent goaltending from Bobrovsky and Derringer. So, you bring up Spencer Knight a little too late, and you let him get in there a little too late. He played great. Spencer Knight did in the 2 games. He got 1 win, 1 loss. But I mean that Florida team is still a pretty young team, and they're really clicking in Quenneville's system. I think if you get Spencer Knight up and get him in that starting role, I think you're looking at a completely different Panthers team next year. Now, if we're having the same conversation at this point next year and they got eliminated in the first round, it's going to be a whole nother story.
Yeah, I got you. Jesse's saying Florida was a tough out for the champions. Definitely not walk of shame. That's true. They did show something there when backs were up against the wall. They won a couple of really close games there. Prism saying Carter Verhaeghe is going to have a monster year next year. I'm telling everyone now, that's my son for next year.
Perry, shut up. That was your son for this year. Don't give me that next year crap. At the end of the season, when we created our little group chat, you were doing nothing but, doing some expletive stuff.
Obviously, we're going to skip Tampa for obvious reasons. All right, so on to let's take a look at the West Division here. Colorado. I don't know if you could give Colorado the walk of shame, only because you can. I don't know. They won the they fucked themselves over for winning the President's Trophy. That's for one thing. I mean, they lost, but they lost to Vegas though. So it's like, okay, you got the 2 best teams facing each other. One of the teams beat the other one. That shit's gonna happen sometimes, I mean, I don't know. It just because of the way that they lost to Vegas, I feel like it's like Colorado still fought hard. Yeah, they won the first 2 games, but Vegas wasn't dead. At least that
top to bottom, Colorado's a much better team, and Robbie's jumping on with us here in a minute.
Oh, okay, awesome.
It's just Colorado was the better team. They should have won. Now, do they get through the semis? Who knows? But they should have been playing Montreal. Let's be real. Montreal probably should have gotten there, but I think Colorado for sure they were the favorite. They were the favorite from just about everybody, except for me. There he is.
What's up, Robbie?
I wanted to take a break from work and say what up to the fam. What up, guys? Doing a great job and listening the whole time.
It's great to have you here, brother. It's great to see that you were able to get away.
Yeah, dude, I got to take a break. I got 4 more teams left, and I'm going to nail this out probably by 4 a.m. We'll see. We'll see about that. But I just want to pop on real quick and talk to any, Montreal Canadiens fans that might be tuning in. Might be having their head, laying a little low right now. And I just want to tell you, don't. Put your head up high. I know it sucks losing in the finals. We've been there before. But you're talking, this is a team that was on the outside looking in before the pandemic hit. Snuck in because of the 2014 tournament and made a nice little run, got that experience, and then doubled down this year and went all the way to the finals. Now, I get it, Carey Price, he's long in the tooth. He's 33 years old, I think, right? But he showed that he could play on the big stage still and be elite. So I'd expect big things from this team. It's going to get tough going back to the regular divisions, but I think they can do it. What do you think about their perspectives for next year, guys? For
Montreal, I think they're I don't want to say they're Stanley Cup final bound again, but I definitely think they're playoff bound. They don't really have too many big free agents that they're losing. I mean, they got to worry about getting Philip Deneau back, who's one of the better two-way players in the game, and you got to try and get Joel Armina back as well, because he's one of the best penalty killers in the league, and you really saw that, especially in the playoffs, in that one or two games that he missed, the penalty kill hurt. And then once they get him back, they're right back on track. So you gotta get him back. So focus on getting those two guys back. Need a little more scoring depth, because that's something that hurt once they got to the Stanley Cup Finals, because they just stopped scoring. And I think Montreal's back in the playoffs. I think you stick with Carey Price, maybe you get Caden Primo up and platoon him a little bit during the regular season, get him some action, and I think they're fine. I think they're good. They're still a very young team. All their stars are still pretty young, and they're just starting to open that window back up for them to really compete.
Yeah. I think they'll be fine. I think that next year, when this season coming up, when we get back to the regular, I could see them making a wild card, and I could totally see them frustrating a top seeded team that either takes them too lightly or is not ready for them, because this is a team that's really built well for the playoffs, and they show it. They showed it last year. They showed it this year, that this team is a nasty, nasty team, especially when you put their backs up against the wall. They don't quit. And that's one thing that this team has that a lot of other teams need to take note of. It's like, this team doesn't quit. And that's the reason why they got to the finals this year. So, in my opinion, I think they can make a wild card, and I think that they might upset a top-seeded team in one of the divisions. They may upset the Atlantic winner. They may set the Metro Division winner up, and they may move on to the semifinals, and people will scratch their heads like, Jesus, this Montreal team, God, they're like a damn cockroach. It's almost impossible to kill them.
Had to throw the roach in comment in, didn't you? And just when I was agreeing with you too, man. Just when I was agreeing with you in terms of Montreal's perspectives. But I mean, what you see here, and this kind of ties into what you boys were talking about earlier in terms of the curse of the President's Trophy, is that there's teams built for the regular season, and then there's teams built for the postseason. And this is a team that's built for playoff run. They grind it out. They're, get in the dirty areas and normally pop goals. Now, it kind of flew away from them a little bit. Tampa's a tough team, and I'll touch upon them before I hop off. But I agree with you, Maddie.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard. It's kind of hard not to, but in that same breath, I want to come up with something, but I can't.
You guys are saying, you made a good point that this could have been, Carey Price's last chance, like one quick pad for the Rangers. I could see that. But just the way he brought his game back up to what we saw, like in his mid to late 20s, I still think there's juice in those old bones. And it's a weird thing, a 33-year-old is old, but it makes me feel good at night,
It doesn't make me feel good. I'm 3 years older than Carey Price is.
Well, speaking of old players, an old player went to Tampa Bay, albeit in the NFL, and brought championship success with them for all the major teams down there in Tampa. And what's funny, too, is that the Stanley Cup Twitter account put out there that, no, the Stanley Cup's too heavy for you to throw Tom Brady. And he's like, if you have enough tequila, you can.
I actually responded to that. That's actually on our A2D page somewhere earlier this afternoon, and my response was, the hell he better not be throwing the best trophy in all of sports.
I gotta say, I used to hate on Brady, but I always respected him as the GOAT. But I am loving him as he gets older. He's just not as stick up the ass anymore. Showing personality. Gronk has really rubbed off on him because he's acting a lot more like Gronk every day.
Do you have you watched the match at all? The golf outing that they do with Brady and another quarterback and a couple PGA Tour you need to watch it. It puts a whole new perspective on not just the sport, but just these guys and their personalities. Aaron Rodgers is a funny dude. So is Bryce DeChambeau, who's one of the PGA stars right now. He's on the younger side. If he's not on the uprise yet, he's already skyrocketing. But even Tom Brady, he takes everything he does so seriously, but in that same breath, he has so much fun with it. You can tell, he'd miss a putt, he'd be pissed off, but then he'd be making a joke.
Yeah.
He was even making fun of himself on the course about what happened during the parade. Right. But to feed your point, yeah, he's getting funnier. I not only do I respect him as the GOAT, I'm starting to respect him more as a person.
Yeah, loosening up for sure. But success will do that. Getting back to the mountaintop as the Lightning have here, winning back to back with something special. A lot of teams in the course of history have done that. And really maximizing on their opportunity. You guys threw up a poll there about was it cheating, was it not? I always say fuck Tampa. You know what I mean? It is cheating, but it's a loophole that was there, to be maximized and take advantage of. and they did that. So, I mean, I'm going to put my personal feelings aside, and any Lightning fans that are tuning in, congratulations. You know, it's something special. You know, back-to-back cups. I'm sure, you know, us Flyers fans of the 70s know what that's like. Hopefully, Maddie, we'll get to see that again before it's our time. But it's something
I
special,
wish.
you know? Yeah.
I think you guys have a better shot at winning the lottery. No, but for sure, because what was I going to say? Yeah, I mean, it's not cheating. Like, they're not doing anything illegal.
Right.
So, like, they're not the only team to win a Stanley Cup because they went over the salary cap. Come playoff time, there is no salary cap.
Yeah. I've said it before at the beginning of the show. It's just sour grapes. It's a lame-ass bullshit argument of teams that couldn't play up to Tampa or couldn't beat them. It's as simple as that. It's like, don't bitch about the cap loophole. Bitch about the fact that your team couldn't play up. Just as simple as that.
Hey, you know, like I said, I just wanted to use that as a little jab on Tampa because I'm jealous. But, you know, I got to if I'm going to stay true to my different, you know, sports, you know, opinions. When asked about the sticky stuff, my first response was, "Well, shit. If you're not cheating, you're not trying." You know, so I'm not the most, you know, fair when it comes to getting an edge in sporting competition. So I'll stick to my laurels there. I go back and forth. I say that, you know, these millennial pitchers ran wild with it and ruined it for everybody. You know, you give an inch and they took, you know, 10 miles, you know, and then got caught. And that's what that does. That's what it is. You're getting off something in high school, and then, you know, some nerdy kid goes to jump in, and then everybody gets caught. And then you're like, damn, man. But you're going to find a new place to hide it. You know what I mean? When you're getting sick by the principal.
No, absolutely. And that's you know, kind of what it is. And you know, you're going to start seeing that more in baseball now that they're checking. They're going to get creative.
Yeah. And by the way, hi, Eileen.
Yeah, you popped it right what I did. We must have been around the same pattern. But, boys, I do got to get back to it, so I'm not – maybe, you know, I was slightly joking about the 4 a.m. We'll see how quickly I can get through this. But this is the big chorus thing I have to do for football, unfortunately, doing coaching breakdowns on all 32 teams. Yeah, fun stuff.
Well, good luck with that.
Get ready for the season now. Helps me get ready for the season now.
Absolutely, brother. Absolutely. But, you know, Rob, we were glad that you were able to jump on with us, brother.
Yeah, of course. I'll be back full time next week, like Maddie said. You know, where we could celebrate a little bit post Matthew's birthday. You know, in case anybody out there, if you didn't want anybody to know Maddie, well, too fucking bad. I just said it. His birthday is Monday the 12th, and
yes.
Yeah. So, you know, we'll have to, you know, wish him a happy birthday collectively together. And like I said, hopefully, God willing, I'll be back on, guys.
Oh, God. Hopefully my birthday doesn't fall on a Thursday.
Thanks, brother.
I got to look now. Oh, good. I'm safe. I'm safe.
But, yeah, thank you. And I'll be 28. So, haven't hit
you old.
Yeah, I haven't hit 3-0 yet, but I'm getting there. Oh
God. So wait, we've been doing the show for almost 6 years together, right?
Yeah, about that.
So you were 22 when we started this shit.
Yeah. Yeah, lots happened since then.
It's been real, guys. I gotta go.
Well, many people know Maddie was the original young one before Brodo came along.
Yeah, and then Brodo came along and he became the babe. He became the babe of this whole thing. Thank you, Priz. I appreciate it. And DB, no, there is no asterisk next to this cup win, just like there was no asterisk to their last cup win in the bubble. But anyway.
Yeah, and Jesse said it right. Like, it's always been this way. It's nothing new. So other teams have won the cup doing the same exact thing. That's all.
Mm-hmm.
And then, yeah, Don saying, "What's up, losers? What's up, Don? We're in the same boat with you."
When I see a loser, I'll tell them you said what's up. I ain't a loser. I'm a winner.
I'm going to bounce off so Don can bounce on and do a shit talk me in person. Peace, y'all.
Peace, brother.
See you, brother.
All right, so Robbie jumping on in for a quick second as he's got to go take care of business there. Hopefully he'll get done before 4 a.m.
Come on here with us. Don ain't got the balls to come on here with us.
He's going to come on when Detroit makes the playoffs for the first time in like 4 million years. That's when he'll come on, and then he'll start saying, Detroit's going to go win the cup. It's going to be like 97 when they won their first one in 50,000 years back in the day. For those that are curious,
the Phoenix Suns are up 108-99 with 3 minutes left to go in the game.
All right, then. So let's see, DB saying, I counted 8 different news sources that used the tagline, Lightning strikes twice after the cup, and honestly, I am not even surprised.
Yeah. No, that was the tagline that Kenny Albert used when they clinched last night was, Lightning strikes twice.
Yeah, I figured, why not? It'll probably get us a nice little feed from some people there. Let's see, join the show when Seacrest and Carter Hart join the Wings. Fuck off
that
with
ain't
that.
Happening.
Fuck off. Happening. Fuck off, Don. Fuck off. All right. I think Prison puts it in all in perspective on that one. But anyway.
Love you, dude.
All right. So let's see. Where did we leave off again?
We were talking Colorado.
So you gave them the walk of shame. I did not. But we move on with that. Obviously, we'll just get this out of the way now. Montreal is not on the walk of shame at all. So... but anyway, Don, we love you too, brother.
Always.
Oh, let's see here. The Prism saying, Don, you gonna let SJP say you ain't got no nads?
I still don't know where the hell that whole thing came from. I know that was something Brodo started.
Yeah, it was. Brodo starts a lot of shit that just takes on a life of its own. You ever notice that? I mean, just from the duck shit alone from you.
Like, I don't mind the duck shit. It's all Sarah Jessica Parker thing. And the scariest part about it is I can see it. That's the part that scares me the most.
Oh, God, that shit was great. I don't even think me and Mikey could concentrate after that shit happened. But anyway, Jesse saying, I just pray the next cup the Flyers they don't run into another fucking dynasty. I know. Oh, my God. The Flyers have had the worst fucking time with drawing dynasties. Every time. Every fucking time we make the final, it's a dynasty team that we have to face off with. Ugh.
Yeah, Edmonton, Detroit, Chicago. Islanders,
1980, yeah. We didn't draw a well, technically, we kind of drew a dynasty in the making with Boston back in '74, but back then we were underdogs, so it worked out in that favor. We were not underdogs in '75, but Buffalo sucks. They don't know nothing but misery, so we were lucky. We got to draw Buffalo again in the Stanley Cup Final.
That's true. I've talked to a few Buffalo fans at my job, and they're miserable people.
No, I don't blame them.
Well, they're not miserable people. They're just miserable fans because
I don't blame them.
They're Sabres fans. But
I mean, they got the Bills. At least the Bills are good now. But I mean, God, the Sabres are just. Oh,
technically, they have the Toronto Blue Jays too. So I mean, there's baseball.
Oh God, if the Blue Jays were to win a World Series in Buffalo, I would cry laughing. That would be great.
That would sound about accurate.
Do you think Buffalo would fight the city of Toronto for the banner? No. But anyway. All right, so DB saying, give Gary Bettman the asterisk for that awkward team photo he took with the Bolts when presenting the trophy. What the hell was that? I know. That was kind of weird, and then he finally handed the cup off to Stamkos. But anyway.
I kind of liked it, but in that same breath, yeah, it was like super awkward.
And I think one of them was like saying, it's like, come fucking on. Like, he was just so tired of fucking Bettman going on and on and on. And I get it. Bettman was going to say something because he had to, having the full arena for the first time. But it's
I think that's why. And that's exactly why he did it. It's because it was, last year they had the ball blade, had nobody around, so they did it that way. And then they did it this year because of that same reason. First Stanley Cup being raised in front of a crowd in well over a year. So I get it, but yeah, I'm with DB. It was super awkward. Like, the players didn't kind of seem like they were all into it.
Not really. I think they just wanted to fucking skate around with the cup. You're like, Bettman, shut the fuck up. Yeah, it's like, shut the fuck up, Bettman. No one gives a fuck about you. Literally, no one gives a fuck about you. Anyway, Jesse's saying the owner of Tampa literally sat in front of the cup for the photo. You couldn't even see it. But
I
anyway,
didn't even notice that. I actually turned it off after that.
that's funny as shit, though. But let's see here. Next up on the list, we got St. Louis. I mean, St. Louis had a rough year, so I mean they got there. So congrats to them for that, sort of.
Didn't
And they
they
got
win the division?
smoked. What?
They won the division, didn't they?
St. Louis?
Yeah.
No.
I think they won their division.
No, they were fourth in the West.
Oh, right. They were in the West.
Yeah, they were in the West this time around, and well, I think they kind of wish they weren't. They got their asses smoked by Colorado in the first round.
Yeah, they did get smoked. They, I don't give them walk of shame, but they also didn't have the expectations behind them that they did last year.
DB, I knew Tampa fans were bad fans because they didn't boo Bettman. That's true. Bettman got the best reception in the history of his time handing off cups. Well, let's see here. Next up, we've got Vegas. Oh, yeah. Oh, fucking yeah. Vegas, you get the walk of shame, my friends. That was fucking atrocious. So you get out of a tough battle with Minnesota. You get out of another tough battle with Colorado just to shit the bed against Montreal. And I don't give a fuck if Montreal was shutting you down. You have this team that you've built and you spent a fuck ton of money on, and you still can't get to the final. That's fucking unacceptable. I'm sorry. That is fucking unacceptable. I don't give a shit what Montreal was doing. You couldn't adjust. You couldn't figure out how to fucking adjust. I mean, DeBoer never knows. But still, at the end of the day, like, you couldn't adjust at all to fix this shit. Fucking unacceptable. Walk of shame. That's an absolute walk of shame on Vegas' part.
Yeah, Vegas gets a walk of shame. And the biggest reason is they allowed Montreal to shut down their top line.
Yes.
Their top line had no offensive production whatsoever. So they definitely get the walk of shame. They were another team that was expected to be in the Stanley Cup final. Potentially a Stanley Cup winner. I know they were one of the favorites. I think they were like plus 1,600 to 1 or something along those lines. I don't remember the line.
Something like that. Yeah.
It was they're running. Their window's starting to run a little short, and I think they're going to start seeing some moves coming up to kind of switch things up. I think they keep some core players, but I think they start moving some of these other bigger contracts.
Yeah, I mean, when we announced this earlier, we had, I think it was either Jesse or someone was bringing up Vegas like 5 or 6 times when we announced we were going to do the walk of shame. And honestly, there's a good reason for it. And honestly, got a good reason.
I think Jesse did that.
All right.
What was I going to say? Don't be surprised. I think Matt Pacioretty could be on the move too this offseason.
Yeah. Hey, Don, do you all think that they switch the divisions around next year?
We're going back to normal.
I don't think they're going to do that. They're just going to go back to normal. They're going to just have Seattle slot into the Pacific Division and be done with it. That's pretty much it.
The only reason, like I was saying earlier, Dave, the only reason they made the changes that they did is because of travel restrictions, so they had to keep teams as close as they possibly could. And then obviously you weren't going from the U.S. to Canada, so yeah, they kind of had to force their own hand to change up the divisions.
Yeah. Don, I'm saying I'll be happy when Colorado falls short again. You love to see it. I'm sure he was more than happy to see that happen.
I'm really glad he brought this up because there is something I was hoping we were going to touch a little bit on free agency tonight. Being that we are officially in the offseason now.
Yeah.
So I was looking at the top 30 free agents, and before we jump back in here real quick, I just want to talk about Gabriel Landeskog being a free agent.
Oh, good. Yeah, we should talk about that.
Just quickly, I want everybody else to join in. Does he re-sign with Colorado, or does he go somewhere else?
Now, it's interesting to note, though, I was seeing on the interwebs, so you know it's true, St. Louis has interest in Gabriel Landeskog, but that's one of the teams that I heard has some intrigue in him because of the situation with Vladimir Tarasenko.
Jesse says he resigns. I think he resigns. I don't think he leaves Colorado. I think they have so much going on right now, and they're at their peak right now as far as making sure that they're competitive and the team is built around them. And I think they are stupid to lose him, and you can re-sign him at a decent contract. I don't think it's going to be anything crazy long term, but I think it's like maybe you give him like a 3 or 4 year deal at about 5.5 to 6. I think that gets the job done. It gets Landy back in Colorado. I think if he goes anywhere else, I would be completely shocked, especially considering where Colorado is as far as competition goes.
Yeah, I got you. Pretty much everybody's saying the same thing. They're all saying that he'll stay in Colorado. I think he will too. I think he would. I just don't think that it would be smart for him to leave Colorado, honestly. It's like if you want to be competitive and you want to be on a team that's got a real good chance to win a cup, I would stay, honestly. I would honestly stay with Colorado. There's no reason to leave.
Yeah, I mean, Jesse put it pretty well there. Nice city with a good team. That's okay. Let's say he goes to St. Louis. Who says St. Louis finds their way back to the playoffs, being back in the Central Division?
I mean, there's the debate on that. We don't know what's going to happen with St. Louis right now. They're up in the air.
Bucks go down 0-2 in the NBA Finals now. They lost. I didn't see what the final was, but all the teams are filing off the court.
Now, are the Bucks fighting for their first championship?
I think it's their second overall.
Okay. And then what about the Suns? Do they have one?
The Suns, I don't think they do.
Okay, so
they've been there. I don't think they won it though.
Okay, then.
You better knock it off with Landy going to LA. That ain't happening, bro.
Oh my God!
I am hearing. I am though hearing that they're in on Tarasenko. LA is, and they did just get Victor Arvidsson, so that's not a bad one. I'd be surprised if Tarasenko doesn't wind up in Seattle or LA. The Bucks, I believe you're saying, right, DB? The Bucks won 1-71.
Yeah, I'm not sure on that one. Don not saying random thought. I hate Ken Holland.
Okay.
All right.
I hate Bob Murray, but it is what it is.
Next up, let's see here. We've got Minnesota. No, absolutely not. Minnesota fought really hard and almost upset Vegas in the first round. That should have been a red flag for Vegas right there. But honestly, yeah, you know what? Give where credit is due. If Minnesota gets Kaprizov all signed up and everything, there's no reason why this team can't, be opening up a new era of them getting more competitive in the Central Division.
Yeah, for sure. For Minnesota, I don't necessarily give them the walk of shame. They did have the season series on Vegas, and they played them really well. They played a very good series against them as well, so I can't hate too much on them, but I can't give them the walk of shame. They had little expectation, but I see them being a team that's going to compete for a little while. And as far as Kaprizov, he may go across seas. Just putting that one out there. It's a rumor.
Yeah. That's the big thing, though. If he decides to leave and go to the KHL, I don't know what the fuck's going to happen with Minnesota then. That throws everything up in the air. But see TB saying a lot of chicken dinners in LA next season.
If that's a shot at me, it at least get the poultry, right?
And Jesse saying, I wonder if Colorado tells players no skiing, no injury report for falling into a crevice.
Yeah, that's a good question. I wonder if they do that.
It would be interesting. Let's see here. To the north. Oh boy. No, you know what? Fuck it. We'll wait till later for the north. We'll go to the east. Pittsburgh. No, I don't give Pittsburgh the walk of shame. Reason why is because Pittsburgh's not the same. They're not what they used to be. If this was the team of the 16, 17, 18 era, I would give it to them because they probably shouldn't have lost to the Islanders then in the first round. But this time, I don't know. Pittsburgh, as good as they were playing this past season, they're not the same.
No, I totally give them walk of shame because they made trades at the deadline to help take them to a step further. They went out and got Jeff Carter. They went out and they got Ron Hextall. And he made a couple good moves going into the second half of the season for that final playoff push. But they came up short. So, yeah, I absolutely give them the walk of shame. Despite the fact that they are an older team and their window is closing, they had some expectations behind them with the moves they made, and they didn't get the job done.
All right, then. Jesse saying, anyways, my bracket had Tampa versus Vegas Cup final. Went to shit, but not too bad. Well, at least you got one half of it right. And let's see. Prism saying, boys, y'all need to do a live reaction for the greatest captain in sports return so I can come on and obliterate and get banned by the FCC.
There's no FCC on YouTube and Facebook and all that, so you don't got to worry about all that.
Fuck the FCC. Who the fuck do they think they are? Man, let's see here. Jesse saying, of course, Jeff Carter starts playing like it's 2011. Well, Jeff Carter really, honestly... Good.
All I was going to say is I can't wait for Taves' return. I really can't.
Yeah, that'll be crazy. But let's see here.
I'm really happy that he figured out what was wrong with him, and he's getting himself healthy and back to form, and hopefully he's be ready for camp.
FCC equals TVA. So let's see here. East Division again. The Islanders. No. The Islanders had another really great run. I mean, I can't really... I mean, yeah, they got beat by Tampa in the third round again, but again, when you lose to the team that went back-to-back, it's... I don't know if I can really dog you. I mean, they fought hard in that series. They pushed it to 7. They just got shut out in Game 7. I can't really give them a walk of shame after the run that they had. They had a really good run, in my opinion.
Last 2 seasons, they had a really good run. They just need a little offensive depth and get some little secondary goal scoring, and they'll be fine. I mean, let's be real. They got to Game 7 of the Eastern Conference Finals 2 years in a row against the same team and wound up losing. So no walk of shame for me for the Islanders. In fact, I think they exceeded expectations this year, and it is what it is. They lost to Tampa Bay in Game 7.
Yeah, they proved that they were no fluke. Last year and the year before that, no fluke at all.
Sure. Yeah, for sure. I definitely thought it was a flash in the pan season, and they proved otherwise.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm dreading having to face them again in the playoffs because I think it's going to wind up happening where the Flyers and the Islanders are going to meet again. I really don't look forward to that.
Very likely now that everything's going to go back to a little bit more normal.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, there's a reason why I'm dreading it. The Islanders are legit. Let's see here. Washington. Yeah, I'll give them the walk of shame. I feel like they were trying to compete. They were trying to keep themselves going. That's why they went and got Peter Laviolette, try and get some more out of this team. And the way they played against Boston, they absolutely shat the bed. I would have to give them the walk of shame on that one. I mean, they didn't even play up, even remotely, against Boston. Boston schooled their asses.
I don't know if I give them the walk of shame because they're another team that's kind of on the south side of the team that they have. I mean, you went out and got Anthony Mantha. It's a great trade. Don't get it twisted. But, you gave up a big piece in Jacob Verana.
You did.
And you gave up Richard Panik, and you gave up a couple picks for Anthony Mantha, which was a great move in retrospect, but that wasn't a move that was going to get him anywhere near the second or third round. So their expectations were lower, and they are a much older team than they were. I don't give them the walk of shame. And then on top of it, your starting goaltender, you don't have your starting goaltender all year. Ilya Samsonov played well, but you don't have Henrique Lundqvist the entire season.
Well, yeah, that definitely did not help things. DB saying Islanders are that guy that starts dating your mom, who she is only dating because he is safe and has a decent job, but boring in bed and wears New Balance shoes with cargo shorts. Oh my God, that's fucking great. Oh, I think he hit the nail on the head.
I was going to say accurate, but very descriptive.
Let's see here. Next up, Boston. This is another one that I had a hard time figuring out whether they get the walk of shame or not.
Oh, this one's going to get nasty.
Honestly, I'm going to say Yeah, I'm going to give Boston the walk of shame because they got beat once again, and they did make moves at the deadline to try and be more competitive this year. They went and got Taylor Hall to get secondary scoring going, which I think Taylor Hall did a pretty decent job of. But at the end of the day, though, it still didn't make any bit of a difference. They still got eliminated in the second round by the Islanders. So, yeah, I'm going to give it to Boston. And fuck Boston, too. They can go piss up a fucking rope.
Yeah, I had them going deep. I'll definitely give them a walk of shame. They're still a team built to compete and make a run, and they had a. Well, what's interesting is Tuukka Rask is a free agent now, so whether or not he resigns is going to be a huge question mark. But yeah, they have one really good line, couple okay. They don't have the like Jesse's saying here. They don't have that depth.
Yeah, they
semi-decent defense.
Yeah,
Tuukka Rask carried them a lot, and so did the perfection line. So
absolutely,
if they can get some, like you said, perfect example, trading for Taylor Hall to get some depth scoring. You can't win without depth scoring, and they couldn't compete on any real level outside of the power play. 5-on-5, they were kind of meh. Power play was really good. Penalty kill was all right, but they just couldn't hold. They couldn't compete with Tampa. Or the Islanders. Sorry, the Islanders.
Yeah, I got you. Roscoe. I
told this to you twice already today. Chris is right. You are going to give me an aneurysm.
So let's see here. All right, to the north, Winnipeg. We'll start with them.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing about sweeps. I said this, they can be good and they can be bad, especially if you're doing this in the first round or the second round. If one side could sweep another team, it motivates them. It makes them hungry. It makes them a buzzsaw. They want more. Their bloodlust has not been satiated. Whereas in Winnipeg's case, it's the opposite. It made them go cold. They got rusty, and they weren't ready for Montreal. They were not ready for them at all, and they paid the price. They paid it big time.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
No, for sure.
Yeah. Shame.
They were. I mean, the loss of Mark Scheifele kind of really hurt that team and really shook them pretty bad. But, I mean, you went out and you made a couple moves, and those moves didn't pay off. Pierre-Luc Dubois was not what they wanted him to be. He just wasn't. You made that massive trade for Laine, and you're hoping to get some secondary scoring and some offense from Dubois, and he didn't really show up. And then come playoff time, they just got absolutely smoked by Montreal.
They did. After smoking this team, time for the main event. Edmonton to start things off. Absolutely, they go on the walk of shame. Yes, we know. I know. We know they don't have goaltending. But how many times did we say that last year? And how many times did they not fix it?
No goaltending, no defense.
Yeah, they ultimately fucked themselves. They had no one but themselves to blame. They didn't fix any of the problems that we brought up in the bubble. Not one of these problems were addressed. And what a shot. They ultimately get number 2 in the division because the Canadian division, a lot of the teams are very evenly matched, except for Edmonton and Toronto, that's somewhat ahead of everybody else. And yet, at the end of the day, they go up against Winnipeg and they get swept. And it's just embarrassing. You absolutely go on the walk of shame because you did not address the problems that everyone was talking about.
Well, not even just that. It's, they allowed Winnipeg to completely shut them down.
Yeah.
I mean, they didn't. McDavid and Draisaitl didn't have any points until Game 3,
which is super embarrassing.
And then on top of it, you don't address goaltending at all at any point, and they're still apparently not going to address it. From what I understand, they want to re-sign Mike Smith. You go out and you get Tyson Barrie to partner up with Darnell Nurse. All right, so that gives you one really good defensive unit.
All right. Blind squirrel found the nut. Yeah.
After that, their defense is so. Like
they just shoot craps.
They just put so much emphasis on offense that they don't even worry about defensive goaltending, and they expect their offense to get, 6-7 goals a game, and that would theoretically win them hockey games, which it would. Theoretically, you score 3 goals a game, you should win the game.
Yeah. Yeah.
But, when you're so one-dimensional like Edmonton, Edmonton is not going to trade Nugent Hopkins because what they did was sign him to an extension.
Which is also on the news. They signed him to an 8-year extension. Yeah. And $41 million of that extension. So Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, congratulations on sticking around in Edmonton for another 8 years and making a shit ton of money for a team that is very easy to soak if you're an offensive player.
Which I believe is 5.25 over the next 5 years?
I believe so.
Jesse, that's what I'm saying. They should try and get Bobrovsky.
I mean, yeah, it would make sense for them to do it. Watch Seattle go and get Bobrovsky, which would make me laugh because I'm like, well, then Seattle's just going to smoke Edmonton every time they face them. Mm-hmm. And then Prism says that's a steal.
No, it's absolutely a steal. I mean, Nuge hasn't been great, but he hasn't been bad. He's been average.
He's a strong depth player, I will say. I mean, definitely not – I wouldn't say he's the value of his draft pick because he was a number 1 overall, but still very, very good player in terms of depth.
No, for sure. And hang on. They're showing pictures from OC. I'm trying to see if we can see the all campus.
Oh.
On the news. So, you got Nugent Hopkins, good depth player. You got Jesse Puljujarvi, who showed that he deserves to be here and got the contract he should have gotten. It's a shame he lost a year, but he's still relatively young. Then you have McDavid, who's a star. You have Draisaitl, who's a star. After that, I can't really name you another player off the top of my head that's, really going to be somebody to build around.
Yeah.
I mean, you have Ethan Bear's okay on defense. You have Darnell Nurse on defense. You have Tyson Barrie, who's on a 1-year contract. I believe he's a free agent at the end of the year. Edmonton is just, they're not, they have, so they have really good players in specific places, but they haven't put any depth around them.
Yeah.
So that's kind of why I still think they keep falling short and why they honestly are a joke of a franchise.
They just think it's the 1980s. Like, I don't know why. It's like, listen, it's not the 80s, man. It's not the 80s. You can't just score 20 goals on another team and expect to go win a Stanley Cup because you can do that in the regular season routine. They can't even do that in the regular season routine because they barely make the playoffs half the time anyway. So it's just, you got to fix this fucking team, man. Got to fix this team. You're in the Walk of Shame, and you'll be there as a permanent resident until you can figure this the fuck out. Moving on.
As far as I see it, if you can win 2 or 3 games in the second round next year, you've redeemed yourself. But
yeah,
you gotta be able to add depth on both sides and get yourself a legit goaltender. Stop relying on Mike Smith.
Yeah. I don't know why.
There's a bunch of good goalies. There's gonna be a bunch of good goalies on the market. Maybe they go after Tuukka Rask.
I mean, why not? I mean, it's definitely going to be better than what you're going to get from Smith. That's for damn sure. Hell, go fucking try to see if you can get Price. I mean, Christ. Jesus. Get somebody.
I think Price goes to Seattle, believe it or not.
I got you. I got you. But still, it's like, I mean, Christ, man. Got to do something. But let's see. All right, the main event, the main course, the one who is leading the Walk of Shame parade. Ladies and gentlemen, the one team that shockingly performed worse than Edmonton in a series, Toronto. And why? Not because they got swept, but because they had a 3-1 lead and pissed it away. Toronto, you're leading the chain. You get to be the first in the Walk of Shame. Congratulations. You get the first bash of fresh shit being thrown at you, smacking you in the face. You guys absolutely...
monkeys throwing our feces around, throwing our poo around? Stop
That's the Walk of Shame. That's the Walk of Shame. And they deserve it. They absolutely fucking deserve it because there's no fucking reason why Toronto should not have been in the semifinals facing Winnipeg and possibly in the semifinals facing off with the Vegas Golden Knights. This was a year for them to actually finally take the next step, and they still failed to do it. They absolutely failed miserably at this. So it's amazing. It really is amazing. Maybe Toronto has like a food allergy of some kind to playoff success. Like they can't actually win a series, or they'll go into anaphylactic shock or something. Because I swear to God, for some reason, they are so allergic to playoff success. It's amazing.
Oh my God, Zach, that's pretty funny. He says Tampa Bay is actually more Canadian than the Canadians, which is actually probably really true. I think most of the roster is actually Canadian. But yeah, Toronto absolutely walk of shame. You have a 3-1 lead. You have a chance to bounce Montreal, and then from Game 5 on, you let Montreal outplay you. Mm-hmm. Not having another lead in that series whatsoever throughout the rest of the series. So, yeah, they absolutely get the walk of shame. Mitch Marner was shut down throughout most of that series. Austin Matthews was shut down for the most part through that entire series. You've relied heavily on William Nylander, who eventually went cold. They just didn't play like they wanted to win that series, especially moving on after game 4. So it is what it is. Toronto, again, losing Tavares hurts, but that should have fueled the fire a little bit more. They have the depth, which is like I was saying earlier. Maybe you go out and you find some blue line help. Jack Campbell played well enough. Freddie Anderson's a solid backup. Toronto should have easily won that series. They should have. I think they should have taken the North and ran with it. Yeah.
Yeah, there's no reason why they weren't in the semis. No reason why they weren't there.
Yeah,
it's just amazing. Toronto collapsing the first round was the first sign life was returning to normal. But yes, so Toronto has officially earned the right in the East. They are the Choke Kings. They have taken the throne after Tampa had it for a short period, but they were really a pretender. Washington had owned it for a long time, and then they finally got rid of it when they won their first cup. And now Toronto has officially taken their place as the Choke Kings of the East. They have done it. Congratulations, Toronto. You get to wear the crown of bullshit, because that's all you do is give your fans bullshit every fucking year, thinking that you're going to win a Stanley Cup when all you do is miserably fail at the one thing you're supposed to do, and that's play hockey well. And you can't seem to do that.
Let's be real. They played hockey well up until Game 5.
Pretty much. When it matters the most.
56, 59, 60 games. So they played 60 games well. They are what they are. They are a very good hockey team. But I think there's a little too many egos in that locker room, and I think that hurts more than helps the team. Although, don't be surprised if Wayne Simmons does re-sign with Toronto, because I heard a report that they are currently working on an extension.
Okay, makes sense.
No, Zachary for sure. Bad defensive and that was the thing. Like after game 5 when they were up 3-1, Montreal just outplayed them. Montreal just played them so much better, and they played the game like they actually wanted to win.
Yeah.
And they did.
I agree.
And they did. Toronto just got shut down.
Yeah, I agree. And Zachary's also saying
they shut him down. They shut down Tavares. Tavares was hurt, so they couldn't shut him down, but they actually literally shut him down. Matthews wasn't getting any scoring. Mitch Marner wasn't getting any scoring. They were getting a lot of secondary scoring from William Nylander. But yeah.
Yeah.
Defense was just sloppy.
Absolutely. And Zach saying, didn't watch more than 5 Flyers games this year, but I'm thinking Carter Hart couldn't be the sole blame. He's not. There are fraudulent fans who try to claim that he's the reason why the Flyers were bad this year, and that we like to call bullshit, because that is not true. The Flyers defense played like garbage, and on top of that as well, Carter Hart, while he had his struggles this year, if the defense plays like shit in front of him, and he's not exactly playing phenomenal, that's a combination for disaster right there. And the offense at the end of the day couldn't keep up with the fact that the defense was putting them in holes. So there you go.
I mean, there were a lot of inconsistencies in this Flyers team this year, and it's not solely on Carter Hart. There's plenty of fingers to point, and to me it all starts with the leadership, and This Flyers team needs to be revamped. They're stuck in 2010, and they don't know how to get out of it. And every year, it's just been another year of mediocrity. And there's a lot of young talent on this roster to the point where that the Flyers should be a contending team right now.
Mm-hmm.
But it is what it is. And, Carter Hart has a lot of head issues that he needs to work out. He's only 22 years old. He's going to be 23, I think, at midpoint next year. So, he's the only one left that I'm willing to say that, he's still young. He still has a lot of growing to do. He's 3 years before his prime starts. So, if he can figure out all the issues now, by the time he hits 25, 26, he's going to be okay. I think he's going to be just fine.
He's saying goalkeepers are always just a product of their team. A lot of times that can be true. You can have a good goaltender, but the defense in front of him plays like shit. And if he can't make 40 or 30 saves nightly, well, it doesn't really matter who you have back there.
Matty,
it really doesn't.
Let's be real. Since I've come on the show, how many times have I said your goaltenders are just about as good as your defense?
A lot. Pretty much.
Yeah. So, that's something I preach a lot is if your defense is shitty in front of you, your goaltending is probably not going to be good. Carter Hart has had plenty of games this year where, he did not look good. He just didn't. He didn't look good. He looked out of position. His glove hand was slow. Blocking hand may have been slow. He just wasn't getting good vision of the puck or properly reading plays. But then again, he also had games where he looked great.
Yeah.
So it's there. It's, and I hate to call it this because it's not quite there. It's a Carson Wentz effect. The kid just didn't forget how to play hockey, just like Carson Wentz didn't forget how to play football.
Yeah.
He just got a couple issues up here that he needs to iron out, and he'll be fine. He's still a young kid.
Yeah. And everyone's pretty much said that Carter, anyone in the Flyers organization, the least of their problems is Carter. The least of their problems is Hart. They're more concerned about fixing the defense. That's what they're more worried about, and also getting a goal scorer. That's pretty much that's the to-do list right now.
The main focus should be, and I know not a lot of people are going to be on board with this. I know a lot of people that aren't. You got to go out and you got to try and get Seth Jones. I know a lot of people aren't big on Seth Jones. He is a top 10 defenseman in the league. He's one of the best two-way defensemen in all of hockey. And that's something that they need more than they need offense. And the Flyers have plenty of offensive defensemen on that roster, and that's fine. They don't have us. What made Niski so good is that he was a two-way defenseman with offensive upside.
Yeah.
Seth Jones is a two-way defenseman with defensive upside. He can score, but he's more known for his defense, which is what the Flyers need. He's a leader. He's a voice. And he's a fresh pair of eyes, which is what they need desperately.
They absolutely do. Jesse's saying Flyers need to be retooled and need defensemen, pretty much what we were talking about there. And he's also saying, it's been so long I could never see JVR, Jay Coots ever again, and it'd be okay. Giroux can't be a top elite player at his age. We need to go younger and have a player like Giroux be our veteran depth.
And I agree. And I agree. Maybe you get lucky, you get JVR or Voracek is picked. This is my favorite time of year because rumors are swirling all over the place. I'm hearing Drake linked to Seattle. So there's a possibility he may get picked, or there's a possibility that the Flyers trade him to Seattle.
True.
So if you can get him off the books, there's a lot of good players in free agency right now. Plus the Flyers have good prospects, good offensive prospects that they can bring up. You make room for Morgan Frost. Zach Wisdom could be another good asset offensively. We know Wade Allison can play.
Yes.
It's just a matter of how consistent can he be. And then there's Tyson Forrester. It all depends on what this deal winds up looking like for Seth Jones and if the Flyers can land him. That's determines where you go offensively. Maybe you trade Coots for some offensive depth. He's got the value, and I think he's got 1 year left on his contract. So it's a move you can make at the deadline depending on where they are.
Yeah, I agree. Zach saying also the offense needs to maintain possession and change the feel for the players on the ice, put some fear into the opposition.
Yeah, they need some physical players up front. The possession game is kind of tough because it's a bittersweet thing, especially with Voracek, because he has such great vision, but he also turns the puck over a lot because he does force it, but he does have good vision. So, yeah, I absolutely agree with that.
Which is probably why I think Seattle might be interested in a player like him, because of the fact that he could be really good for the offense in terms of setting things up for them if they're getting any goal scorers in the expansion draft coming up, which they might.
Yeah.
So,
and Jake will give you 45 to 50 assists a year, plus 20 goals, 25 goals. So.
Absolutely. All right, then. So now with the walk of shame out of the way, one little bit of notes here that we have from the news that I got. Vladimir Tarasenko requesting a trade. His current salary is $7.5 million with a no trade clause, so he has a say in where he wants to go. He's requested one, so he'll waive it, but only depending upon if the deal's right. And he has 2 years left on his deal with St. Louis. So from what I was reading, maybe St. Louis could eat some of the contract. It's not a nasty thing to do since it's only 2 years. And maybe you can get a deal done that way since he has a no movement clause. That might convince him to waive it some more. Front runners wise, these are the teams that I saw as front runners: the Rangers, the Islanders, and the Oilers.
For who?
Tarasenko.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah. Yeah, you can throw the Kings in there too. I've heard him linked. I think right now, especially with things going on in Buffalo with Eichel possibly staying there, I could see the Rangers definitely going after Tarasenko. Islanders do need him the most, Priz, I agree. And I think that the Islanders actually have the best assets to give up. More NHL-ready assets. Rangers have some good ones, but I don't know. I mean, unless it's like a Kako, I don't think they really make the swap. And I think the Rangers are in very good position as is right now.
Yeah, because, I mean, St. Louis has also been debating on leaving Vince Dunn unprotected to get rid of him as well so that he could be taken by Seattle. There's been rumors of that. Meanwhile, when you get rid of Tarasenko, it's interesting. I think as I think about it more, I think LA gets him. I think LA gets him, honestly, and I think the reason why is because I think LA's building towards something, and I think he would want that. If it's not them, then I would say the Islanders. Those would be the two teams. I don't think he goes to Edmonton because I think it would be, he's only got 2 years left, but at the same token, I would say, does Tarasenko make them go over the hump? Fuck no, because they still don't have goaltending like we talked about.
Here's my question. I know Tarasenko does have a cup, but here's my question. Does he want to get paid or does he want to compete again? That's going to be determines where he goes. I don't think Edmonton has the assets to really get the deal done.
Yeah.
Because I think it's going to cost a pretty penny to get Tarasenko because we know the type of player that he is. He's a top 20, 25 player in the league.
Jesse's throwing out the
Islanders make sense. It depends on the package. The Knights could be a possible destination. I mean, it all depends on the return. Does St. Louis want to retool? Are they going to go into full-out rebuild? But I definitely think the Islanders might be one of the better teams that actually fits because they have young players they can move.
Yeah. No, I agree. It'll be interesting to see where we go from here on St. Louis' side. I mean, right now, the best thing for them to do is to obviously wait a moment. The same thing that, we haven't seen anything with Seth Jones. I mean, Columbus hasn't, we've heard the rumors with the Flyers being in on it and other teams being in on it as well, but they haven't pulled the trigger on the deal. One, because of the extension issue. Secondly, on top of it, I think right now, teams are waiting until the expansion draft comes to a close before officially signing off on a deal like that. In my opinion, I think that's what we're waiting for.
Raska, that's a huge downgrade. Shane Gostisbehere for Oliver Ekman-Larsson. I would do that deal on a heartbeat. That's a downgrade.
That deal will
probably OEL.
If the Coyotes are dumb enough to probably do a deal like that, and if we can make it happen, great. But I don't see it happening. Because first off, it's Philly. We never get anybody in a deal. They get us. That's how it works. We get fucked in the deal. They don't. That's usually how that works.
For some of the new people that are just joining us here, hit that like, hit that subscribe. Never miss another show from A2D. You can also become a member for $9.99 a month, get all kinds of perks. You can jump on the show with us and rant with us. You get picks from the Money Pot podcast if you're into the sports gambling, gives you some tips and stuff like that. All kinds of other great perks. So just hit that button, join us, become an A2D member, and just feed off of it. You know, you'll never miss a show. You get all kinds of updates, all kinds of fun stuff. So hit that like, hit that subscribe, and become a member.
Absolutely. And Zach saying Flyers definitely are in a time to sell off the veterans, give young guys more important role. Yeah, I think it's time we got to let the young pups, let them have a chance to run. And Prism saying, I'd let GG have the roster as is and see what he can get out of it. And don't do anything crazy until you see how that develops. Lafreniere, Fox, KK, Kravtsov, Miller. That's a good point. I mean, you don't want to.
Kravtsov. Oh.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to make any crazy changes to the Rangers right now because they're still in that phase where you're seeing a lot of these young kids develop. And they've got a lot of talent on them. So it's like you don't want to not give up on them, but you don't just want to wheel and deal and toss one away. And then toss another one away here and there. You don't want to do that.
Well, let me phrase it this way. And I get Pris's point, and I get your point as well. Let him have the roster as is. I get it. But you're also proven NHL player versus potentially unproven prospect who may just have 1 or 2 good years.
It's tough because you just don't know. That's the problem. And then at the same time,
that's why you give it up. That's why you give it up for a player like Tarasenko, who's been proven in this league that he can be a 30 to 40 goal scorer.
True. It's just I don't know because the veterans that the Rangers have brought in haven't exactly tipped the scale in their favor either. They've made deals too, and they haven't always lived up to them. I mean, Jacob Trouba is a perfect example. So I mean,
I thought Trouba's been really good.
I mean, Trouba's been okay.
Panarin.
Yeah, I mean. It's been fine. It hasn't exactly turned the Rangers into, that team that they want to be. I mean, they're trying to get to it.
Last 2 picks haven't either. Kakko, Lafreniere. Did they set the world on fire? No, they were top level picks.
It's tough. It's tough, and
it absolutely is. That's why I'm saying if you do make the move, you make the move with a prospect for a guy like Tarasenko, who's again, a proven player in the league. That's the only way I make the move. It doesn't have to be a huge shakeup, but
I get it. I do get it. It's interesting. It's tough when you've got a roster of young talent that you don't want to give up on, and then you also have, but that this player is going to bring something to the table. And Prism saying, I get that philosophy, Brian. I'm all about that, but Tarasenko has injury history. That is true. Tarasenko does have some injury problems.
That's true, but I'll still take his production on an injury year than whatever Lafreniere gave you last year, whatever Kakko has been giving you, because it's not what they thought that they would be. It's definitely not what I thought it would be, especially for being a number 1 overall pick in Alex Lafreniere, and then Kaapo Kakko being a number 2 overall. You're just not getting that production you expect out of those high-level prospects.
See, Lafreniere, jury's still out on him for me. Kakko, all right. I'm a little, or Kakko, I can see. But for Lafreniere, I want to see how he does this year before I'm ready to pull a trigger on him.
And that's fair. And that's absolutely fair.
Let's see. Jesse saying, I would be like the Max Pat Nick Suzuki trade.
Yeah.
Tarasenko said, last year 10 games, this year 24 games.
Yeah, I mean, last year I think he had that shoulder injury, which really hurt. And then this year, he played half the year. I mean, I get the point. His injuries pile up. But again, it's a proven NHL veteran who could be going to a young team that, he could sit back and play a middle 6 position and just kind of be there. And you're going to get the production out of him. You're going to get veteran leadership out of him. Maybe he helps a guy like a Lafreniere or Capo Caco. Yeah, I mean, I don't think he goes to the Rangers. To be completely honest, I think he does wind up going to the Islanders because I think they need him more. But point being, like I would if I'm the Rangers, and I would give Gerard Gallant as much weapons as I possibly can.
Chris is saying, if I'm doing Lafreniere and KK, I'm getting Eichel.
Well, I don't think Lafreniere is going anywhere anytime soon, but I think Kako, if he does I think he's going to be a part of either trade.
I think that's possible.
But I also don't think Eichel's going anywhere anyway. So,
yeah, we haven't seen any real movement on that recently, and I do believe that they have just started making talks between the two. So
yeah, they're talking about a resolution. So I don't think he's going anywhere. I didn't think he was going anywhere to begin with.
Yeah, so there you go. So with that being said, though, that takes care of that. Any other news topics that I did not hit up that you have?
Not that I know of off the top of my head. I know we gave a few of them away earlier, but no, I don't think there's anything else at the moment.
All right, then. So let me take
Zach, yes, he will. Ovechkin will resign.
He'll
back to Washington.
He's a lifer in Washington. I don't see him moving. Let's see here.
KK for Nolan Patrick in a heartbeat.
So let's see here. We've got the expansion draft coming up in 2 weeks' time. So next week, we're in a situation where if no big news breaks, we're going to have an interesting situation there. So, interesting. Right. Since we do have the expansion draft coming up the following week, you want to do a draft show next week?
I was telling, like I was saying earlier, I got to see what the protector list looks like.
Not the expansion draft. I mean, like, we drafting a team.
Oh, again?
Yeah.
Well, we just did that.
Well, we did it last year in the offseason. I mean, it feels like it hasn't been that long ago because, the offseason was so short.
Yeah, that's what I mean. We'll come up with something.
Yeah, we'll do something. Anyway, we'll come up with something, guys, because we got a couple weeks until the expansion draft, and then we'll finally be able to find out who's protected, who's not. We'll see what's going to happen. So that's next week, though. We thank you all for joining us. Everyone who just joined us for the first time, thank you. If you are a regular, thank you as always. You are, of course, the A2D fam. You make this ship run. Without you guys, we wouldn't be here. So thank you very, very much. And if you like this show,
hit that subscribe, turn on those notifications. Don't ever miss a show.
Absolutely. And if you want to support this show as well as support all the other ones at A2D Radio, because we got everything for everybody. We've got soccer, MMA, wrestling, obviously football, basketball, baseball. We got it all covered here on A2D Radio. So where can they go, Bri, to support the station?
Head on over to PhillyDrinkers.com. That's Philly Drinkers LLC. Get all your A2D merch there. T-shirts, hoodies, hats. You name it, they probably got it. All kinds. Get your Joel Embiid Thrust It T-shirts they have over there now. Another great shirt from Alex Einhorn over at PhillyDrinkers.com. That's Philly Drinkers LLC. Go get your A2D merch there.
As well, we also have All Campus OC as well on this one. They have a 20% off everything in their store going on as they had reopened after the fire that happened in Ocean City. And that includes hats, shirts, and team cornhole sets, by the way. And that is to all subscribers. So if you are a subscriber, you get 20% off. So check out allcampusoc.com. They're going to do some great things for you. They bring you your favorite team's merch. So rock your team with pride.
Yeah, also head up to the All Campus OC on Saturdays and check out the rant booth every Saturday with Billy Schwein from ESPN Radio. Does the A2D rant booth up there. So be a part of the show, be a part of the company, get your rants out, talk to Billy from ESPN Radio. And, yeah, they do that every Saturday at All Campus OC.
Absolutely. And for anybody out there who is struggling with mental issues or addiction issues or has a loved one that's going through those problems, we have the Counseling Center at Sunrise Detox. You can give them a call at 856-651-8117. These are the kind of things you don't want to waste time on. These are the kind of things that you want to take care of as soon as possible, because addiction and mental health issues can send your life into a tailspin, and it'll take years for it to recover sometimes. So the best thing for you to do is get the help you need or get the help the loved one needs. Counseling Center at Sunrise Detox. Get to them as soon as possible. Get that taken care of. All right, then. Now, gentlemen, do you want to feel confident in yourself, especially around the ladies? Well, boy, oh boy, do we have a deal for you. And that is Manscaped. We have an A2D code that can get you 20% off, which will unlock your confidence, because that's the one thing that'll always make the ladies love you. Confidence. The key to a woman's heart. Right then and there. Manscaped's the way to do it.
Yep, head on over to Manscaped. All kinds of great products. You got the Lawnmower 4.0 out right now. Trim up the boys a little bit, make it look nice and neat. All kinds of great products to keep your junk smelling nice, to get rid of all that funky stuff. So get rid of the junk funk and go to manscaped.com.
Absolutely. And for those out there looking to buy or sell a home, or looking for a changing career or a brokerage, you can contact Alan Foy at eXp Realty LLC. You can give him a call at 302-682-8820 or visit him on the web at alan.foy@exprealty.com. That's a big step in anyone's life when you're either selling your home or moving to a new home, changing your career or whatnot. That's the guy to go to make sure that it's done right, because that's not a step you want to make a mistake on. Do it right. Alan Foy, eXp Realty. All right, then. And then, of course, a shout out to Specialized Physical Therapy and our show sponsor, Body Check Wellness, with that promo code there to get you 20% off.
And when Riley's on with us,
40% off.
Yeah, 40% off.
So, absolutely. All right, guys.
That's
thank
right,
you.
Hashtag it. Junk Funk Free.
Yeah, absolutely. DB St. Jordan Bennington News.
None that I know of.
Me neither. Me neither. I don't know. But anyway.
Probably beating somebody up in a bar somewhere.
Oh, well, there you go. I mean, you get swept and you get smoked by a Colorado team. You might want to do that too. Anyway, all right, guys. So we will see you next week right here on a2dradio.com. We should have an off-season fun show for you guys next week, unless some big news broke and some big trades happened. I don't know if that'll happen, though, before the expansion draft, but we'll see. Anyway, guys.
We'll definitely see.
Yeah. We'll see you next week right here on a2dradio.com. From all of us, Rob, who is MIA this week, but will be back next week, myself, and the Darkwing Brian Daly. We will see you guys next week right here on a2dradio.com. Peace and love, everyone.